Yuri is love, Yuri is life. You are correct, V-Chuck. Hello, V-Chuck. Hello, Kiara. And hello, world. It is your favorite little lion here. And we are playing A Little Lily Princess. So usually I do my visual novels on YouTube, but I decided to live stream this one. Thank you for the sub, Lux. Look at that cute little alert. Ah, she's so excited. Yes, exactly. So people can get a little taste of what visual novels are like in the savannah. Whoop whoop. So we'll be playing the first part live, and then I'll be uploading the second part as a VOD on YouTube. Oh, you recognize this art style? Oh, do they have more games? This is my first time playing something from Hanako Games, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure. And let me turn on my captions. How's everyone doing this? What day is it? Thursday? I swear I've seen this art from another artist that makes Yuri manga. You know what? I'm gonna look that up because I also love Yuri manga. I mean, all things Yuri, to be honest. Let's be real. Let's be the realist right now. Oh, wait. I don't know if it actually has music right now. Does it have music? It's supposed to have music. I hear no music. Oh, I might be on a weird setting from before. Well, this is my capture card. But the music might not start till the game actually starts, maybe? Because I don't hear anything in my headphones either. So it might be one of those things where... Let's see. What do you mean it's on? Oh, I can't hear it. Oh, okay, so just my thing. Okay. I don't know what to change it to. I just picked something random and it worked. And I think if I do that, you won't hear double. Okay, we're good now. We're good. Oy. Having to juggle all the time. Oh my gosh, wait, when did we get to 161? Oh, I'm getting a lot of followers recently. I didn't realize we were already at 161. We're actually only 3 away on YouTube as well to get 100. We're getting there, y'all. We're getting there. Alright, let's start this game. It was spring when... The extra music coming in threw me off. Hold on, that might be a little loud. It was spring when Sara's school life began, but spring in London was nothing like any spring she had known before. Oh yeah, this is a period piece, so this takes place like in the before days. Oh, also there is a new form for y'all to try out. It is called dun, da, 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 candy form. Woo! So that is available for y'all. Up, and it's got immediately. Alright, are you ready for this reveal? Are you ready for the ultimate sweetness? Cha-cha! I am Candy Little Lion. Look at me. Isn't she adorable? She's made out of candy. Right? When I saw this art style, I was like, no, I need to immediately have this in my life. And so here we are. I feel like it's really cool, especially when you have different forms, to have like very unique art styles. So I was just like, yes, I need this in my life. And here we are, candy form. The morning sun was not enough to lift the chill from the stony streets, and the mist off the river blended with the smoke of countless chimneys to form a thick yellow fog. That sounds gross. In such weather, the gas lamps burned night and day, flickering like stars to guide the horse-drawn ships to their destinations. But the ship that had carried her across the ocean was now a thing of the past. Here, then, was Sarah's new home. Are you able to make the source bigger on the right side? It looks slightly cut off. No, that's just how the art is. It's not cut off, that's just the art. The art's like that. Wow. No, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. It was big, dull, brick house. Oh, I keep missing words. It was a big, dull brick house, exactly like the others in its row, except that on the front door, there shone a brass plate, which was engraved in black letters. Miss Minch's Select Seminary for Young Ladies. Girls, gather round, if you please. Come, come, hurry up. We will have a new pupil who will be joining us today. Her name is Sara Crewe, and she has only recently arrived in England, so you must all make her feel welcome. The Era character. How do you do? The room filled with a chorus of gently murmured greetings. Sara Crewe, for that was her name, looked out upon a garden of strangers. Every face was turned to her, polite and attentive and perfectly foreign. She felt more lost than she ever had been at sea. Sara, dear, as you can see, we have pupils here from all levels, but these three are particularly near your age. This is Miss Lavinia Herbert. Charmed. Miss Armengard St. John? And Miss Jessie Abbott. Very nice to meet you. They're already asking me to do like 5 different voices. I am pleased to meet you all as well. I have never known many girls near my age. Nor any other age. Sarah's life before that point had been not isolated, but sheltered. Her mother had died when she was born, leaving Sara to be raised by the young, handsome father, who was the only relation she had ever known. Grammar is starting off great. I feel like so many of these are like translated either by the game dev or like not like by a professional. But so far it's not too bad though. I've seen worse. Some fathers had little time for their children, but Sara and her papa had always been quite close, reading books and playing games together every day. Oh, I forgot to put a timer on for candy form. I'll just start it at 10. So cute. He treated her as a little confidant, sharing his thoughts with her as if she were his peer. Okay, well, but she's not. And not a very young girl. And listened solemnly to the advice she gave in return. Oh no, it's one of those, the child ends up being like a replacement partner situation. Not in a bad way, in like an emotional way. Hi, Kara. I am okay. I am okay. Got plenty of sleep, so there's that. Yeah. Though he didn't always follow it. Sara, how are you? Sara had never felt lonely, but it must be said that she had very little experience in making new friends. Sara's father, Captain Crewe, makes his home in India and is returning there as we speak. I shall expect you all to be very agreeable to her. Now, Sara, take your seat. Your father has informed me how much you enjoy your studies, and I expect you to be a credit to this establishment. I love her dress. It's so cute. I am not certain how to become a credit, but I do wish to learn. This statement was met with muffled giggles. Confused, Sara looked back at Miss Minchin for guidance. Take your seat, I said. But which seat is mine? Concerned that she would look disobedient if she hesitated further, she slid into the nearest empty desk. No one objected, and she let out a sigh of relief. That was the most unconvincing. Okay. Well, I had to think about it, and then I was like, well, I mean, at the end of the day, I guess it's neutral. I'm off of work and chilling with you and playing Smite. Ooh, nice. Smite them all. And I'm in candy form. I'm obsessed. I keep looking at myself. I need to stop looking at myself. Nearby, two girls turn to whisper to each other. What a way she has of speaking. So old-fashioned. Hush. And her eyes are such a green color. A funny-looking child, to be sure. I mean, you want to talk, forehead. Well, she isn't as pretty as other people are. But there is something about her. She makes you want to look at her again to see what it is. Y'all both forehead. And she has tremendously long eyelashes. Okay, I feel that. I have really, really long eyelashes, and people would always freak out. Because when I was a kid, they'd be like, oh, her eyelashes are so long and curly. Did you put makeup on her or something? And it's like, no, I am a child. I was born this way. So now that I'm older, people just assume it's mascara.
We are born of the candy, made whole by the candy, undone by the candy. Fear the candy lion.
But she's so cute to fear. Ah, look at my little donut. Their foreheads are bigger than my self-esteem. I mean, that's not saying much. Just kidding. Only you would notice such a thing. A certain je ne sais quoi. I'm so proud of myself for knowing how to say that. Or at least not stumbling over it. I could be still saying it wrong because I don't speak French. Girls! 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 Kindly pay attention to your lessons? Question mark. Yes, Miss Mitchin. Wait! This is like an actual game, not just a visual novel? Oh no. Oh no, decisions. Choose an activity for Sara to perform each day. Every activity has 3 possible outcomes, which will change the icons you receive. At the end of the week, Sara's icons will be collected and turned into resources. Icons are only converted at the end of the week. Until then, they can be changed or lost by other activities. Plan the order of your activities in order to get the best results of the week. Oh my gosh, I was not prepared for this. Oh, there's so many. Miss Mitchin? Sounds like Miss Bitchin'. Trigger lion panic. I legit did not think I would need to think. Okay. Okay, Monday. Okay, so is it one a day? So let's read a book. Yeah, read a book. Practice dance. Ooh, tea party sounds fun. No, let's do tea party on Thursday. Oh wait, should I be? Oh yes, Yankovic. That was one of my favorite brain moments. Let's do dancing. But I feel like, okay. Oh wait, here are my stats on the left. Oh dear, this is like, what is that one I like, but also is very anxiety inducing. Growing up, I think. Okay, let's do write in our diary. Because I already have dance. Okay, read a book. No, tea party. Still tea party. Tea party Thursdays. And then let's go for a walk. Gonna end up being good at nothing at this point. Now that Now the schedule that you have set will be carried out. For each weekday, Sara will point to the randomly chosen result, and those icons will appear on the right side of the screen. You do not have to press to advance between days. It will happen automatically. You can just adjust the speed of activities from the Preferences menu. Remember, icons are only converted to resources at the end of the week. As a result of double all will double your current icons, but not your long-term knowledge. I don't know what that means. Reading, dancing, writing. Speaking of fancy French words, I'm heating up some leftover quoi avant, and I'm very excited. From your Mother's Day brunch. Final week's results. Oh, I have little patience, which is, I guess, pretty lined up to my real life self. My 2 rooms, just for me. Sara was what was known as a Sara was what was known as a parlor boarder, where other girls were quartered in standard issue single rooms. She had a large bedroom uniquely decorated and a separate sitting room with a comfortable sofa. Yo, what? My papa has filled them with beautiful things: books, velvet cushions, lace dresses, and porcelain tea sets. Hats with great feathers that bob on them, even a tiger rug to remind me of India. Oh dear. It looks like a room that would belong to a daughter of a Raja, an Indian princess. I only wish that this room also contained my papa. Perhaps it does. He gave me all of these things, and whenever I touch them, I can imagine that he is with me. And when I read his farewell letter, I can hear his voice. My dear little missus, I cannot go low. So here you are, in the place you always knew you must go. But be of good cheer. You will not have to stay for very long. There will be lots of little girls, and you will play together, and I will send you plenty of books. And you will grow so fast that it will seem scarcely a year before you are big enough and clever enough to come back and take care of Papa. A year's worth of education is not that much education. I am not in the least anxious about your education. You are always sitting with your little nose burying in books, gobbling them up as if you were a little wolf instead of a little girl. I don't think wolves eat books, Dad. I have instructed Miss Minchin to drag you away from your books when you read too much and make you go and ride your pony in the row or buy a new doll. You ought to play more with dolls. Oh, Papa, if I brought a new doll every day, I should have too many to be able to make friends with them all. I am happiest with just Emily, and happier because I was with you when I met her. Weird dad is weird, right? But definitely one of those doting dads that you see in a lot of manhwas. Emily, of course, was the name of the doll, a very special doll that Sara had recovered when her papa took her to visit the premier toy shops of London. She was a large doll, but not too large to carry around easily. She had naturally curling brown hair, which hung like a mantle about her, and her eyes were deep, clear gray blue, with soft, thick eyelashes that were real eyelashes and not mere painted ones. Okay, but like how? Are you saying they took those eyelashes off a dead body to put them on that doll? Because that's how that would be real. Oh, candy form. Goodbye for now. But I love you. Ta-da! At Sara's insistence, she had been given a wardrobe every bit as grand as Sara's own, with frocks and coats and nightgowns and beautiful lace-trimmed underthings. She even had her own tiny handkerchief and her own cradle bed at the foot of Sara's. That hair looks red, didn't they say it was brown? Sara lifted Emily up onto her lap and smiled at her, just as she would another little girl. My papa is on the sea now, Emily. We must be very great friends to each other. Intimate friends. And tell each other things. Yeah, it does look a little cursed. Look at me, Emily. You have the nicest eyes I've ever saw, but I wish you could speak. I also don't like dolls that have like the... You know how you can see their joints and where it connects in two different parts instead of just being like smooth? It always creeps me up. It's like if you could see our bones or something through our skin. She brushed Emily's hair fondly, settling her in pride of place. There are so many girls in this school. I have never seen so many children in one place before. I am afraid I shall not even remember all of their names. I have always known that someday I would be required to go away, to leave my home and my papa, and come to England to be educated. I must do my duty, even if I do not like it. Yep, everyone wants to burn the doll now. I dare say, soldiers, even brave ones, don't really like going into battle, but they must do it anyway, and not cry and fuss. So must I, but oh, it is so lonely to be surrounded by so many little girls of my age. Oh, so lonely indeed. She could not know, of course. Her quiet sorrow might be misinterpreted by others. Miss Minchin, the proprietor, had seen the lavish preparations for Sarah's pretty little room and concluded that there was a child who had always been given her own way at the expense of others. Such a spoiled little girl might be expected to kick and scream and set the whole house into an uproar when abandoned by her only parent. That she did not suggested to Miss Minchin that Sarah cared nothing at all for her papa, but only for her dresses and toys. She would not a thought that inspired sympathy in her heart for the newcomer. Kick the child. Okay, but this is not that child. She made so many assumptions just because she has shit. It's like, oh, this little girl has a bunch of shit. She must hate her dad and only care for material things. Just then, there came a knock at the door of Sarah's room. Sarah was not a girl easily given to fear or startlement, unlike me, but she had a healthy share of curiosity and went at once to see what it was. Oh my god, it's the personification of her doll in human form. Outside sat a little girl, right on her bottom in the middle of the hall. Her baby plump legs stayed at the lace of her petticoats askew, as if she had just toppled over, which in fact she had. Hello there. Wait, what did I do? Hello there, who might you be? Lottie? Her words were hard to make out through the fingers she had shoved into her mouth. Because that's what we do. We shove fingers into our mouths. Lottie? The fingers were withdrawn and wiped dry on the frills of her skirt. Lottie le. Sarah smiled. Here, then, was a chance to meet someone one person at a time, instead of a crowd of strangers. Well then, I am Sara Crewe, and now that we are properly introduced, she held out a hand and helped the little girl to her feet. Oh my gosh, she is so tiny! Okay, but look how, don't pump the child, she's so cute. Look at her little curls. Ah, the little curls. Was there something you wanted? May I look at your doll? Of course you may. Come and visit me in my room, and we can have tea together. My papa left me a beautiful tea set with the lilies painted on it. Emily has her own service as well, sized for her hand, because she is too small to hold one of my cups, of course. I want to see. Come inside, then, and I shall introduce you to Emily. And that was Sarah's first week of classes at Miss Minchin's Select Cemetery for Young Ladies. On the weekends, you can spend the resources you have collected in order to unlock scenes with different characters. Oh, The requirements for each event will be listed in the box next to that. Well, shouldn't you tell me before the weekend so I know what to collect? Because then couldn't you accidentally never... Well, what happened? Oh, I accidentally clicked the back button. Because you could accidentally never get an event. Let's see. And the event requires 5 belief. You must have at least 5 belief on the left hand to do it. Okay. Playing that event will lower your current belief by 5. So wait, hanging out with her will make me believe less? That's weird. Some scenes will not be available until later in the story. Others can be played early in the game. Pay attention to the requirements. It's best to focus your attention on only 2 or 3 characters in order to have time to play all of their scenes. Okay, so we get to kind of pick what route we want. Like a dating sim, I guess. Alright, well I can only do Jesse, because I don't have enough belief to hang out with Lotte. Okay, let's make sure. New week. On Sunday morning. Okay, but the weekend is like practically over at this point. On Sunday morning, the students gather in the entrance hall of Miss Minchin's Select Seminary. Girls, are you ready? Form into a line behind Lavinia. Sarah, dear, it is our custom to walk to and from church every Sunday when the weather permits. That allows the horses a day of rest and ensures that the students receive regular exercise. It is important to look your best when we are walking out among the public. We want our school to always leave a good impression. You should follow Lavinia's cues. She will show you what to do. Lavinia is always a model student. As if hearing her name, she said it like 5 times. Lavinia smiled and tilted her head. And like she said it out loud. You can learn a great deal from Lavinia, dear. And as her father is also posted to India, the 2 of you should have much in common. I'm sure you'll make close friends. Now, go and stand in the line behind her. Sarah made her way to the front of the line, where Jessie and Lavinia stood close together. What are you doing? Go to the back. Miss Minchin told me to stand behind you. She said you were a, quote, model. I'm going to nap again. Okay, have a good nap. Oh, very well then. But that's my place. You wouldn't want to disobey Miss Minchin, would you? No. We have... Jokes. We have to show our new girl how to behave herself in church. She may never have seen one before. Sarah thought it wisest to remain silent. She's like, I'm not going to cut even. Okay. Which one? Belief. Go for a walk. Oh, I did go for a walk. Vigor. Huh? How come there's like 3 lines of, like, do you not, it's like gain that and that, gain that and that, or double all. So I'm like kind of confused by that. Which one? Write in diary seems to have the most belief. Practice dance. Okay, I'm kind of just doing this a little randomly though. Reading. It's gonna take me a while to build back up enough channel points for all the fun redeems. Oh right, because all your channel points are on your other account. Right. I guess you can't transfer them, huh? Well, I wonder actually about that. Like, as a mod, could you do that? A knock came at the door. Sarah dear. Yes, is there? Oh, hello. Bonjour, mademoiselle. Miss Minchin hissed through her teeth like a snake for some reason, and the young woman in the maid's uniform fell silent. Sarah, before he left, your father arranged for a maid to be employed especially for your needs. She has just arrived. I believe she is from France. Yes. Her name is Marionette. Marriott? Marriott. And she will be living in your rooms, helping you with your clothing in the morning and anything else you shall require. Please use her as your liaison with the staff. If you have need of food, send your maid rather than speaking to cook directly. Well, do you not have like a lunch designated food time? And don't let her fool you. She does speak the queen's tongue. Jeez. She swept out of the room, leaving the maid with her new little mistress blinking at each other in confusion. Bonjour, Mariette. Je m'appelle Sara. Comment allez-vous? Très bien, merci. And I am pleased to see that you are just as your papa described you. Oh, what did he say? That no other little girl is as solemn as you, and that you would make me smile. What? But why would being solemn make someone smile? Ah, it is your je ne sais quoi. It is you. Now, why don't you show me around your rooms? I'm not sure if that actually explained. Oh, my belief didn't go up, but I did belief stuff. I don't... Okay, well, let's play with Marriott. I don't really care for Lavania. Jesse's fine. I like that sound so much. It was the beginning of another week of classes, and the students were seated neatly in rows in the schoolroom. Miss Minchin walked up and down between the desks, ensuring that each pupil's head was bowed to her particular lessons. She paused beside Sarah, a book in her hand. Now, Sarah, as your papa has engaged a French maid for you, I conclude that he wishes you to make special study of the French language. Ah, I think he engaged her because he thought I would like her, Miss Minchin. I'm afraid that you may have been something of a spoiled little girl, and as such, you will always imagine that things are done because you like them. It is a fault in you, and one that we must endeavor to train away. My impression, Sarah, is that your papa wished for you to learn French. I have never really learned to speak French, but that is quite enough. You have never learned, and so you must begin at once. The French master, Monsieur Dufrage, will be here in a few minutes. Take this book and look at it until he arrives. Dutifully, Sarah stared at the illustrated books in front of her. Le père, the father, la mère, mère? I don't know how to read French. The mother. You look rather cross, Sarah. I am so sorry you do not like the idea of learning French. I'm very fond of it, but you must not say but when you are told to do things. Giggle. Miss Abbott, young ladies should not make dreadful snickering noises like a horse. Yes, Miss Minchin. Sarah, look at your book again. Yes, Miss Minchin. The son, the brother, oh dear. Shortly after, Monsieur Deforge arrived in the classroom. The French master, I bet she's trying to say she already knows French, even if she didn't, quote, learn it. But, or I guess she means like she didn't properly learn it, but I bet she already knows it. The French master was an elderly gentleman with a neatly trimmed mustache and beard, and hair that flew outwards in dramatic points. Are you going to show him, or... His eyes lit up when he caught sight of an unfamiliar little girl puzzling over a book of French phrases. Oh, it's not that odd. Ah, is this a new pupil for me, madame? Her papa, Captain Crewe, is very anxious that she should begin the language, but I am afraid she has a childish prejudice against it. She does not seem to wish to learn. I'm very sorry to hear that, mademoiselle. Perhaps when we begin to study together, I may show her that it is a charming tongue. Little Sarah rose in her seat. She was beginning to feel rather desperate. S'il vous plaît, mon cher, je ne pense pas le faire comprendre. I don't know. She began to explain quite simply in pretty and fluent French. Madame has not understood. She has not learned French exactly, not out of books, but her papa and other people had always spoken it to her, and she had read it and written it as she had read and written English. Her papa loved it, and she loved it because he did. Her dear mama, who had died when she was born, had been French. What on earth? What is she saying? Is this some form of joke? Ah, madam, there is not much I can teach her. She has not learned French. She is French. Her accent is exquisite. You ought to have told me. I tried. I suppose I did not begin right. Miss Minchin slammed her hand upon her desk. Silence, young lady, silence at once. And though the other students soon settled back into proper schoolroom behavior, Miss Minchin's lip remained tightly pressed together whenever she looked at Sara. I mean, she tried to tell you. But also, I feel like stressing that she wanted to stress that she didn't learn French is like kind of ham-fisting the miscommunication, if you ask me. I don't know how to like raise my, let's see. I want to talk to Lottie more. Should I just, I mean, there's a lot of ors, so it's like, it's not guaranteed that you will learn what you want to learn. I guess I should try to learn more vigor. Whatever. My belief? So I could talk to... I want to talk to Lottie. But my belief won't go up for some reason. There it is. Okay. If the French language fell naturally from Sara's lips, there were other lips from which it seemed it could not escape at all, no matter how long the owner stared at her workbook. Definitely heard a different word come out of your mouth. Well, I don't know what to tell you, sir. Le père. La 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 la. Maybe it was just you. Me, but yeah. To Ermengarde, it had seemed almost unbelievable that a girl of her own age could string together so many French words as if they were mere trifles. Dismayed at her own failings, she was devoting more effort than usual to the trial of understanding her lessons. Her elbows rested on her desk, her hands under her chin, as she repeated the broken syllables under her breath. She stared so hard and bit the ribbon on her pigtail so fast that she attracted the attention of Miss Minchin, who, feeling extremely cross at the moment, immediately pounced upon her. Miss St. John, what is the meaning of such conduct? What? Remove your elbows, take your ribbon out of your mouth, sit up at once. Yes, Miss Minchin? Oh dear. Matters did not improve for Miss St. John, and when the French master himself arrived. Good bread, le bon pain? Kindly though he was, Monsieur Dufarge could not help but smile at her pronunciation. That was not quite correct. It comptes bien, le bon pain. Lang bang bang? Girls, conduct yourselves. It isn't funny, really. They ought not to laugh. Yeah, her pronunciation is trash. That's not funny. I don't know what y'all are talking about. Poor thing. It was a way of hers always to want to spring into any fray in which someone was made uncomfortable or unhappy. However, there was no way for any hero to defend or rescue Ermengarde from the horrors of education, at least not until the lesson period had concluded. Oh, but now I want to do Ermengarde's. Although it says play event, but I feel like no event actually plays. But, cause we clicked, I don't know. Having made up her mind to befriend the unfortunate Ermengarde, Sara first had to seek her out. Someone like Lavanya could be easily tracked from a distance by the sharp sound of her voice, or the drumming heels of little girls stampeding away from her presence. Ermengarde, however, kept largely to herself and did not make a great deal of noise. Sara found her at last, bundled rather disconsolately in a window seat. Forthright and fearless, Sara walked over to her to offer a friendly greeting. "Hello, what is your name?" Her name, of course, was already known, as they had been introduced, however briefly, upon Sara's arrival at the school. This was, however, the traditional thing that little girls always said to each other by way of beginning an acquaintance. The etiquette of children has its own observances. "Ah, my name is Ermengarde St. Oh, sneeze. Archived for interpretation. Y'all are wildin'. Mine is Sara Crewe. Yours is very pretty. It sounds like a storybook. Do you like it?" To understand why she fluttered so nervously, one must recall that a new pupil at school is, for a short time, a very uncertain thing. Cliques and friendships in a small environment can become very firmly set indeed, and leave no room for the excluded, no matter how many years might pass. To the friendless, then, a new student brings with her a breath of hope. Here's someone who is not yet claimed. Perhaps she will like me. I feel that, because when I transferred into college in junior year, I transferred in mid-year. So, everyone pretty much had met whoever they were going to meet in the fall, and I had to try to find my way into a group or whatever in the spring. And yet, as she is unknown, the friendship may not be a possibility. A new girl could equally be snobbish, or foolish, or mean-spirited. The hope is always adulterated with fear. This pupil was even more noteworthy than most, for rumors about her had filled the school even before her arrival. She had her own carriage and her own maid. Her rooms were like no one else's. Her wardrobe was exquisite. She had the adventure of a voyage from India to discuss. It is no wonder that Ermengarde was somewhat tongue-tied upon being addressed. "I like your name." She bit her lip in chagrin at her own stumbling. Sara held out her hand, not as a grand lady might for a gentleman to touch it, but as if greeting someone who was already a friend. After only a moment's hesitation, Ermengarde took it. "I'm very pleased to meet you." "Me too." "Oh, you should meet Emily as well." "Who is Emily?" "Come up to my room and you shall see." "All right." "I am Frog now." "Oh, you changed yourself to a frog? Oh, do you have a birthday cake on your head?" "That's cute." They jumped down from the window seat together and went upstairs. Is it true that you have a whole playroom all to yourself?" The ordinary pupils at Miss Minchin's select cemetery only had a small bedrooms of their own, enough space to sleep and dress and read if they were inclined, but for most activities they must venture out. "Yes, Papa and Miss Minchin to let me have one." She opened the door and beckoned Ermengarde inside. "See, there is a sitting room through that door." "Oh, it's beautiful." "Sometimes when I am playing, I make up stories about the things I am doing and tell them to myself, and I don't like people to hear me. It spoils it if I think people might listen. Does that sound too selfish of me?" Maybe I should take that off. It's not my birthday. I mean, whatever you want, I guess. "I do tell stories for others as well. It's only that some stories, particularly news stories that I am only just making up, are private. They are too delicate to be shared." "Sure." Ermengarde had paused, her eyes wide. "You make them up? How can you do that? What?" A child with no imagination, I guess. "Why, anyone can make up things. Have you ever tried?" "But where do the stories come from?" "Inside my head. Don't you ever imagine things that might happen that haven't? You must have had dreams when you sleep, at least." Ermengarde shook her head, her braids wobbling. "Free thinking is forbidden. Oh dear." "I try not to think about things like that. They are too confusing. I try to think only about what I'm supposed to be learning at school." "I try very hard, but it doesn't seem to help." Sarah found the concept of girl with no imagination at all too difficult to grasp. Surely you must read storybooks about things that aren't real. Oh no, I hate to read. Well, there's the door right there. Feel free to take it, and I hope to never see you again. Bye! Seeing that this response disappointed Sarah, she fished for a better explanation. I don't read well. I can't concentrate. The words run together, and it's so hard to remember anything that I read in a book. I am meant to read a great many books for Miss Minchin's class, but I get them all mixed up. Is he like dyslexic maybe? When we read poems after history, I thought that Kristen Bell was the daughter of the King of Spain. I don't want to read anything more than I absolutely must. I'll only make a muddle of it. And I tried to make up a story. And if I tried to make up a story, then how would I remember what was real and what wasn't? But it's good that you can. What if you read stories about fairies or dragons? Surely you wouldn't get them confused with things at school. But I might. You're very like a fairy. How would you know? You don't even read books about fairies. How would you know if she's like a fairy? I'm the same. I have to read a paragraph like 10 times before I actually understand what I'm reading. Sounds more like derealization. Oh, I'd never heard of derealization. But I guess getting books mixed up is different than getting letters mixed up. So probably not dyslexia. But it seems like her brain doesn't separate things. I'm sorry, I'm very dull. It's the opposite of dull. If you were dull, you wouldn't be weird-brained. And slow. Everyone says so. I understand if you not wish to spend any more time with me. Okay, bye! Sarah patted Ermengarde on the shoulder in a companionable fashion. Everyone is different. I am only sorry that it means I cannot share my favorite books with you. I have so many favorites that I love, and I wish that you could love them too. I dip too. I guess if she's willing to do other things besides talk about stories. Oh, I have an idea. Perhaps if I read them to you, then you would not get them confused with other books. I don't know. Hesitantly, she smiled. Girl is like, I don't want to read or be read to. Let it go. But I could try, I guess, if you feel like you must. If you must. Ermengarde. Why do you keep saying Ermengarde? I don't know. I think the worst thing about her is that her name is Ermengarde. Yeah, she's like, it's like a book. And I'm like, I guess, but it's just a bad name. Did you see that darling little blue and yellow bird on the way back from church? It was only a blue tit. They're hopelessly common. I hadn't seen one before. I'm from a different country, bitch. Damn. They're country birds. They like trees. You don't see them so much in London. There must be many more birds in the country. Are there any birds in England that are blue all over? I don't think so. Are there blue birds in India? Well, there are some birds with bright blue feathers, but not all over. And some birds that are blue all over, but only a bit of blue. I thought that perhaps in England I might find blue birds of happiness. What is that? I'm referencing that stupid meme of saying Ermengarde instead of oh my god. I don't know memes. You know this. I don't speak meme. I should tell you, all of you, come up to my room and we shall have tea delivered. You shouldn't give orders to cook. It's not proper for a young lady to go in the kitchens. Oh, I won't go. My maid, Mariette, will fetch the tea for us. You have your own personal maid to bring you tea? Yes, bitch. I'm not basic like you. Get with it. Yes, my father arranged for her to come from France. Come and say hello, you peasant. She gonna learn her place. And I thought I lived under a rock. Yeah, I just don't sit on my phone, I guess, and hunt down memes, I suppose. Sara and her entourage were greeted at the door. Once again, oh dear, he's gonna say a whole thing. Oh my, so many visitors. It's alright, I have 2 rooms, so they can all fit. If it's alright, would you please bring tea for my guests, Mariette? Oui, mademoiselle. Mariette went at once to the kitchens to carry out her little mistress's orders. The head cook of Miss Minchin's Select Cemetery looked up at Mariette's approach. I'm gonna keep saying her name differently every time. Her face as pinched as her dough. Here now, what's this then? Here now, what's this then? Afternoon tea for 4. Oh, is that all? I expect you'd be wanting fresh cakes too. Never mind that we hadn't any made. Ah, non, there are biscuits already. Never seem to stop one of those girls from wanting more. Quick as you please. Alright, I understand that the place is full of bitches, but please do not assume that someone's a bitch until proven to be facts. Like, damn. I don't think you were online very much back then, I guess. Well, it depends on what you mean by back then, because I was raised on the internet back then. When I was in middle school, it's all I ever did. I just talked to people, not looked at memes. So it just depends on what you mean. I have friends to talk to, not memes to look at, sir. Oh no, 2012 I was in college. I was colleging. Didn't have time for memes. It is perhaps so with some, but not with my mistress. Don't you dot me. She thanks me for my work just as if she were thanking a grand lady. Giving herself airs, you mean? I don't know, I was terrible, insufferable meme lord in college. Yeah, you were, not me. But that just makes you a better person. I mean, as long as you're saying it. As you wish it. Still, I am very pleased with my place. Now, the tea. Let's see. Oh, I want to have more sympathy. I don't know. I think sympathy is the one with the angel wings, I'm guessing. No, the heart is sympathy, my bad. Ah, go away. Okay. Sympathy. Let's just raise our sympathy for a little bit. Little chibi. I love her dress. It's so cute. Strawberry lemonade. So tart. So sweet. Sweet tart. Still need to get some more lemon loaf. Right this way, dear Sara. Lady Pitkin will be absolutely charmed to meet you. Yes, Miss Minchin. Where is she taking Sara? Miss Minchin is showing her off to another visiting parent, or maybe a donor. I'm sure I wouldn't know. Dear Sara must come into the drawing room and talk to Miss Musgrave about India. Dear Sara must speak French to Lady Pitkin. Her accent is so perfect. She didn't learn her French at the cemetery, that's for certain. And there's nothing so clever in her knowing it. She says herself she didn't learn it at all. She just picked it up because she always heard it from her papa speak it. It's simply disgusting the way Miss Minchin trots her out like an ornament. I can't imagine being so good at anything that Miss Minchin should want to show me off, especially French. Well, honey, you're just not good at anything, so I understand that. Listen here, sir. Sarah's always imagining. She will no doubt grow up to be an eccentric. There is one thing about her, though. She's never grand about herself in the least bit, even though she easily might be. I believe I couldn't help being proud, just a little bit, if I had so many fine things and was made such a fuss over. A little. If Miss Minchin brought you into curtsy for the mayor's wife, you would purr, just like Tyval. Oh, Lavi, don't be silly. Being a cat might be even nicer than being able to speak French. And every bit as likely for you. Damn. There's no use in waiting here for Sarah. She'll be at tea for hours, I'm sure. We may as well go on our way. And this is how Whisker Away started. It is. Okay, who should we should talk to Lottie. Actually, what happened to Lottie? She is never there on the weekends. Oh, excuse me. Sarah was seated comfortably in the classroom, gazing at the windows and thinking. It was not that the seat itself was so comfortable. This piano music is slightly reminiscent of Kingdom Hearts. Ah, never mind, not this one. You didn't even play Kingdom Hearts. Did you listen to the soundtrack before? Or you just know the popular song, I guess? The long-form benches of the schoolroom were chosen for function and ease of use, not for gently cushioning the tender bottoms of schoolgirls. Sarah's own cozy little parlor contained far more comfortable places to sit than the classroom or even the dining room at Miss Minchin's. However, sometimes a change of scenery was more conducive to clear thinking. There was something interesting about being in a classroom when all the other students were gone. I played part of the first one, and I've heard a handful of pieces from it. Ah, gotcha. It's still a classroom if there is no class inside of it. Wow, so deep. Dearly beloved. And yet, it was not long before someone else did enter that room. Someone who stood at the corner of Sarah's vision, unwilling to speak and interrupt, but nearly bouncing off her toes from excitement. Lottie? After looking outside and letting her mind wander for so long, Sarah's eyes seemed to view everything in the wrong colors, and Lottie's round face was overlaid with pink and greens. Don't you have to be staring at something that's reflecting light for it to be that bright to make you see colors? She blinked a few times to clear her vision. Lottie clasped her hands together, taking this as permission to speak. May we go and see the doll Emily now and have tea? All right. Sarah led the way up the stairs, motioning Lottie behind her to stay quiet. We must be careful not to disturb her. Disturb who? If you're lucky, you might see. The door to Sarah's room stood in front of them. Sarah placed a finger over her own lips and then to Lottie's. Only after Lottie nodded did she reach the door. Then Sarah suddenly turned the handle and threw it wide open. Its opening revealed the room quite neat and quiet, a fire gently burning in the grate, and a wonderful doll sitting in a chair by it, apparently reading a book. Oh, she got back to her seat before we could see her. Of course, they always do. They're as quick as lighting. Lottie looked from Sarah to the doll and back again. Can she walk? Yes, at least I believe she can. I believe dolls can do things they will not let us know about. What is this, Toy Story? Perhaps, really, Emily can read and talk and walk, but she will only do it when people are out of the room. That is her secret. You see, if people knew that doll could do things, they would make them work. So perhaps they have promised each other to keep it a secret. If you stay in the room, Emily will just sit there and stare, but if you go out, she will begin to read, perhaps, or go and look out the window. Then, if she heard either of us coming, she would just run back and jump into her chair and pretend she had been there the whole time. Okay. Lottie's eyes were magnified enormously as she took in this bewitching new concept. It was a delightful thought. However, Lottie was one of the youngest students at Miss Mission Cemetery, and as such, had experience in being told things by older girls that might not be entirely true. Sarah, does she really walk? Do you truly believe it? I pretend that I believe she can, and that makes me seem as if it were true. So it's not true. When you suppose things, then you pretend them with great vigor that makes them almost real. If you imagine for yourself that there are fairies in the London sky, if you stare up into the sky thinking about fairies and looking very hard for them, you might almost catch a glimpse of one. And you're not sure what you saw. Was it real or wasn't it? Were you pretending? Was it a dream or was it a vision? Did you actually see anything at all? You know that you are pretending, so it's not so terrible if you didn't see anything. But maybe, just maybe, you were right all along. Sometimes stories do come true. Do you understand? I think so. Would you like to hold Emily? Oh, may I? May I really? She is beautiful. And Emily was put into her arms. Lottie smiled down at the doll, cradling her gently and fingering her fair curls. They must move very fast to get out of sight when we come in, mustn't they? I wonder if we can learn to move like lightning. Oh, we couldn't do it. You see, it's a kind of magic. Maybe people can have magic too. That is nice to pretend, but whether we can have magic or not, we can certainly have tea. Stay together now, girls. Keep in line and don't step in any puddles. Just because church is over is no excuse to soil your nice dresses. The air smells very different when it has rained. It smells like London. There are too many people and chimneys and horses. I keep lavender sachets in my room so that I can smell the gardens, even when I'm away from home. They're not much. My Aunt Eliza sent me the flowers. I stitched them myself. We have lavender in India, too. Oh, but isn't lavender an English flower? I thought everything in India would be saffron and spices. Perhaps the British soldiers brought lavender with them so they could smell the gardens too. Do you think that soldiers could be homesick? Of course! Soldiers must be very brave and bear all sorts of dangers and hardships, but that doesn't mean they don't have feelings. And we must be brave too, even when we are far from home and the people that we love. A carriage passed alongside Miss Minchin's students as they walked, seemingly packed to the walls with children, 8 of them, siblings all, and such a giggling mass of blonde curls and rosy cheeks as Sarah had never seen before. Their merriment was infectious, and Sarah found that a smile had come unexpectedly to her face. As such, it came a slight shock when the carriage moved along and revealed a sight previously hidden on the other side of the street. Oh, a sight. A little beggar child in a heap of rags, too dirty for Sarah to tell if it was a boy or a girl. All right. Pricked by the sight, Sarah stepped out of line and carried her little coin purse to the child. Sarah, wait, where are you going? Here is a 6-pence. Go and buy yourself something warm. You dirty child. She hurried back into formation, but not before her steps were noticed by Miss Minchin. Sara Crewe, you must stay in line. If you go rushing off, you will put yourself at risk. I should not like to tell your father that you were struck down by a cab horse in the road. I only wish to... Generosity is a virtue, but it is not wise or safe to come in close contact with creatures of the street. You must be careful to clean yourself thoroughly when we return to school. Yes, Miss Minchin. To be fair, though, back in the day, you could catch something from just being around other people. I mean, you could do that nowadays. But especially back then when there was no medicine and those weird, crow doctors. And yeah, people got run over all the time because you shared the road. There was, no real sidewalks. It was, road, and then you walked on it. So that is valid. That is valid indeed. The beggar child had already disappeared from sight. How strange. That one child should be hungry and dirty on the streets, while another rides in a fine carriage and knows nothing but joy and laughter. That is not strange. That is very normal. All of these things happen quite by accident, because of the way that we are born. I wouldn't say by accident, but sure, whatever you want. I wonder how many days are in this game, because I feel like you can max out all of these quite easily. I wonder which one is patience. Feels like I don't even need knowledge in artistry if it's not tied to an event. Yeah, knowledge artistry. I got like a no vigor, but I went for so many walks. Even from a distance, there was no mistaking Lottie's shrill little voice. I want to hold the kitty! Don't be ridiculous. Sara came into the room to find Lavinia perched primly in the window seat, looking down at the smaller child whose lips was beginning to wobble. Tybalt is in my lap, and he is perfectly content there. Listen, you can hear him purr. That is because I am stroking him, and he likes me. I want to hold the kitty. Keep your sticky little fingers away from his fur. Lottie's brow furrowed in firm determination. Ignoring Lavinia's commands, she reached out to pick up the cat. Lavinia slapped Lottie's hands away. The sudden movement jolted Tybalt out of his comfortable doze. With a parting squeeze of his claws, he leapt from Lavinia's legs and hurried out of the room. Now look what you've done, you little brat. He scratched me, and he's damaged my dress. It scratched you because you're mean. You wouldn't even let me touch it. It isn't fair. It isn't. A cat is not a rag doll. You cannot scratch and tug at it as you please, or it will bite your hand. Is that too difficult for a child of 8 to understand? She cannot help being younger any more than we can help being older. Okay, but she's got a point. You can't just be grabbing at pets, though. And kids are notoriously rough with pets. If she is 8, she is 8. But then she'll be 9 next year, and then 10 next year, and after that, and in 12 years, she'll be 20. And that is quite grand. I really just feel like this writing is kind of, dear me, how we can calculate. Yeah, pretty much. I don't want to be 20. You will be when you are, and you won't be while you aren't. So there's no reason to want or not to want. Okay. No, no, no. Be quiet or I shall slap your face. Okay, but don't slap her. You mustn't. Lottie looked into Lavinia's blazing eyes and then ran from the room, wailing at the unfairness of it all. You ought not to baby her, Sara. She must learn that she can't have everything her own way. Privately, Sara thought that Lottie was not the only student at the school who might need to learn that lesson. Hello, Dean. How are you? Welcome to the visual novel stream. So they said in one playthrough you can go through 2 or 3 events for the same characters. So maybe we should try to stick with these 3, I guess. I was gonna say, what kind of kid doesn't want to be 20? But then I remembered that back then I probably liked being 40. What? Back then that was like being 40? I I'm okay, just stopping to say hello. I'm about to go to bed. Ah, nice. Bedtime. I'm looking forward to my bedtime because I like being in my bed. But that is several hours away, unfortunately. But I hope you have a good night's rest. And thank you for coming by. Like, being 20 back in those days is probably similar to being 40 today. Nah, I don't think it's that serious. Thankies, huggies. Thank you. I mean, she could have pretty much said any age that wasn't 8, and the girl probably would have been like, no. Ermengarde sat contentedly on the floor of Sara's room, listening to her read from one of her storybooks. And then he offered to take her away to his father's court, where she would be made his bride. Have a wonderful rest of your stream. Thank you! The maiden adored the prince, whose company had charmed her for so many hours, but she could not bear to leave her sisters without first telling them farewell. She bade the prince to leave and return again the next day to the— Thank you for the head pats! I just saw it from the corner of my eye. I was like, something's on my head! She bade the prince to leave and return again the next day to the place in the woods where they had met. Let me guess, he doesn't show up and it's this whole dramatic thing. Sara did not read the words exactly as they were written, but put her own little touches upon the story to make it turn out the way that she preferred. It was not quite the same as telling her own stories, but Ermengarde still seemed nervous at the idea of stories that had not come from books at all. It was a first step. Once he had gone, she rushed back to her home to take up her work at the wheel, planning to spin twice as fast to cover for her absence. But when she sat down at the wheel, she was dismayed to find that her magic gold thread has lost all its brightness. Thank you for the lurk. Her heart beat fast and she wept bitterly, for she remembered that her mother's warning and knew not what misfortunes might now befall her. She was so afraid that she would be punished for what she had done that she ran away without telling anyone what had happened, not even her beloved sisters. She ran through the woods, looking for her prince, but he was on horseback and long since gone. And while she ran, she did not watch where she was going, and so she tripped over a root and fell into a rushing river, disappearing into the swift current. Thus, the misfortune was complete. She drowned? Not quite. Sara continued her story, how the maiden was transformed into a golden water lily who sang in her sorrow, and how she was at least restored to life by the love of her sisters. Ermengarde sighed in contentment. When I hear stories in your voice, I can almost see them happen. You are much better than books. But what about the prince? Doesn't he marry her in the end? He rode over the bridge by the river and heard her singing, but he didn't do anything to save her. It was her sisters who loved her enough to look for her when she was lost. I thought princes were always heroes. Anyone can be a hero in the right circumstances. I don't think I could. Ermengarde looked around Sara's room, decorated as it was with the best of at least 3 countries: dependable England, refined France, and exotic India. Do you miss being in India, Sara? Yes, of course. It was my home, and I was happy there. I had my house and my pets and my ayah, and the skies were never foggy and gray like they are here in London. I loved living there, but I love it most of all because it's where my papa will be. Ermengarde saw Sara's face suddenly change. A cloud seemed to pass over it and put out the light in her shining eyes. She drew her breath in so sharply that it made a funny, sad little sound, and then she put her lips and held them tightly closed, as if she was determined either to do or not to do something. Have you a pain? There was a moment of silence in which Ermengarde would worry that she might have spoken out of turn, but at last Sara answered, "Yes, but it's not in my body." Her voice was low and somewhat unsteady. "Do you love your father more than anything in all the world?" Ermengarde's mouth fell open a little. She knew that it would not be correct for a responsible child to at a select cemetery to say that she did not adore her father. Could not imagine being even so much as fond of him. I scarcely ever see him. In fact, she did her very best to avoid being left alone in his company for more than a few minutes. It was not a proper feeling for her daughter, perhaps, and was clearly not something that Sara would understand. Ermengarde was indeed greatly embarrassed. He is always in the library, reading things. There is a wealth of information in that statement, if Sara had been inclined to decipher it, but she was too preoccupied with her own feelings. I love mine more than all the world 10 times over. That is what my pain is. He has gone away. She put her head quietly down on her little huddled up knees and sat very still for a few minutes. Ermengarde had an idea that if she had been like any other little girl, Sara might have suddenly burst out sobbing and crying. But she did not. Her short black locks tumbled about her ears, and she sat still. Then she spoke without lifting her head. I promised him I would bear it, and I will. You have to bear things. Papa is a soldier, and I think that's what soldiers bear. Yeah, I mean, she's just a dumb girl trying to make friends with a new girl who she can't relate to on multiple levels at this point. The whole not reading and the whole, oh, you have a loving and supportive father, can't relate. So there's nothing connecting them right now. If there was a war, he would have to bear marching and thirstiness and perhaps deep wounds, and he would never say a word, not one word. I mean, maybe not to you. Ermengarde could only gaze at Sara, but she felt that she was beginning to adore her. Okay? She was so wonderful and different from anyone else. Presently, Sara lifted her face and shook back her black locks with a queer little smile. If I go on talking, I shall bear it better. You don't forget, but you bear it better. I will talk to you as much as you like, if it helps you. Would you like to sit in front of the mirror while I brush your hair, mademoiselle? Oh, I don't think so. Not by the mirror. You see, it's nice to sit and think while you run the brush through my hair. Sometimes I remember stories, or I think of things I want to say to someone else. Other times, it helps me relax. It must be like that for Tybalt when someone is petting him. I don't know. I feel like this is a lot less romance than it is just a bunch of girls at a dorming school. But if I were looking in the mirror, then the Sara in the mirror would be looking back at me, and we should have to pay attention to each other, or else we might be thought impolite. Mariette laughed in the back of her throat. That is as you wish. I had thought of doing something different with your hair, and if you could see it, then you would know more quickly if you thought yes or no, and I could change it if you didn't like it. Well, I think that it's better to look at it when it's finished. You should stop reading a book. If you stop reading a book in the middle, you might have the wrong idea of what it's all about. Then I shall show you once I am done. Mariette is so kind. I mean, part of me is also like, yeah, but if she's going in a direction that you feel like you might not like, it's better to just not have her do the whole thing and then be like, it's trash, undo it all, versus like, oh, I don't really want to have my hair up. You don't have to do a whole braiding up do. Just like, stop. I would be terribly lonely in the room without her, even though I'm surrounded by girls that I could talk to. The school is full of other girls, but they are, like me, guests of Miss Minchin. We live in the same house, but they are not part of my household. I mean, that's what friends are. Well, Mariette is the only person who belongs to me. Okay. It is nice to sit and think while she brushes my hair, and she has a better way with it than my old Aya did, but I do miss my papa so. Right? She's like, I like being in the presence of a person that belongs to me. Jesus. If he were here, if he were coming to visit me as some girls' parents do, how happy my life would be. I wonder where my papa is now. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to speak. No, it's all good, mademoiselle. You should speak your thoughts. Your father sailed many weeks ago, but now he is in India, yes? Home and safe, and thinking how different the house seems without your footsteps. Oh, I don't want to think of him sad and lonely because he is an adult and he should have his own relationships and friends and not just depend on his daughter. It is right that he misses you and that you miss him. That's how things should be. But that does not mean your life is nothing but sadness, does it? No, I don't think I am melancholy. No, bitch, you are. I would not wish to be. I enjoy my books and my friends. What friends? You talking about Emily? Not your friend. She is a possession of yours. So, you see, your papa, he will be lonely, but he will also feel other things. He will live his life good, but he will also think of you. I believe you will hear from him soon. Oh, I hope you are right. No, you must be right. My papa will write me letters as soon as the ships can carry them, and I will treasure his words. And I do hope, that my papa has a friend to care for him, as Marionette cares for me. I have no beliefs. What was belief again? Yeah, the cross. Wait, this one? I mean, I just feel like since there's so many, like, gain this or this or this, it's like, that's not how stats building should work. It shouldn't be an RNG for the same thing. It should be like everything has a dedicated thing and you're guaranteed that thing if you do that activity. Not you do an activity, then you have 3 different potential paths and outcomes of that activity. I think it's inherently flawed in that way. But we'll see if we actually gain any belief. I mean, or maybe I'm misunderstanding, but I don't think so. Because we did the same activity every day and we still got different outcomes. Life RNG. Well, sometimes you set out to do something, you actually don't reach your objective, but learn and improve something else in the process. Not even, because if you're reading a math book, you don't come out being like, oh man, I was studying math, but now I understand art, and now I can draw 3D figurines because I read this math book. It's like, no, you read a math book, you get math out of math. It's not how that works. Sometimes you get out not getting the math at all, though. Instead, you know your limitations. Yeah, but saying, like, I looked at this math book and couldn't understand the math, it's different than saying, I looked at this math book and now I understand gardening. That's essentially what's happening here. While Sarah was... Why does the music sound spooky? While Sarah was walking through the school, she heard a great commotion coming from the nearby room. The first high-pitched shriek made her startle, concerned that one of the younger girls might have injured herself. Sarah was a quiet and solemn girl herself, but made no judgment against those whose temperaments led them to cry out loudly when they were in pain. I mean, have you ever been in pain? Like, have you really? However, the wailing went on, more angry than miserable, and the voice was recognizably Lottie's. Sarah came closer and began to make out the accompaniment of frustrated adult that had drowned out the childish tantrum. What are you crying for? There is nothing wrong with you. I haven't got any, Mama. Stop crying, for heaven's sakes. I haven't got any, Mama. You ought to be whipped. You shall be whipped if you do not hush, you naughty child. Jesus Christ. Lottie wailed more loudly than ever. Oh, I wonder why. You're too good at this. No. I just committed. 80% commitment to the bit. I wish it was a murder mystery at this point. I wish anything would happen, to be honest. Like, it's cute, but like, I'm waiting for something to kind of happen. Miss Minchin emerged from the room, her hands pressed to the sides of her head, and paused when she saw Sara lingering outside. "Oh, dear Sara." Miss Minchin's attempt at producing a friendly smile was not at all convincing. Lottie's roars continued unabated, and each burst of sound made Miss Minchin's shoulders twitch. Yeah, I don't want your neighbors calling the cops by committing 100%. Alright, neighbors. I stopped because I knew it was Lottie, and I thought perhaps, just perhaps, I could make her be quiet. May I try, Miss Minchin? If you can quiet that, you are a clever child. Dreadful thing. We may not be able to keep her. But you are clever in everything, my dear. I dare say you can manage her. Go in. When Sara entered the room, Lottie was lying on the floor, screaming and kicking her small, fat legs violently. Also, fun fact, I was this child in one of my preschools. I got in trouble for something dumb, and they put me in the hallway as a timeout. And so I started crying and crying and screaming and crying. And I did this for about 3 hours straight, because I guess in their mind they were like, oh, just ignore her and she'll stop. And then in my mind I was like, oh, ignore me? Then I'll just keep going. Yeah, I was just screaming and crying in the hallway for 3 hours. And then I remember at some point, the principal or headmaster or whatever it is, brought me into their office, and they were trying to hit me with a ruler. But then I started running around and climbing on their furniture and kicking off their papers and stuff, trying to run away from the ruler. And then I don't know if this was the same time as the other time, because all the times kind of blurred together. But that might have been one of the moments where they called Mama Lion and they were like, come get your child. She cannot come back or something. Because I definitely got expelled from that school, but after several different instances. And I remember once they even called the cops on me, which I can't imagine any situation where you would call the cops on a preschool child. Oh, I think I grabbed the ruler from her and snapped it in half and threw it back at her or something, and she took offense to that or something. Oh, a child that doesn't let me beat her? How dare she? Yeah, that was not a great environment for me. I don't know. They also took out a restraining order on me, so I couldn't come within a certain feet of the school, so I don't know if it still exists. I doubt it, though. Yeah, I don't know. I can't help but feel there was a lot of layers to this that, we don't have to get into, but yeah, it was also a religious school, so maybe that puts a little bit more context into it. Good childhood times. But yeah, I basically, long story short, I can relate to Lottie. Sara stood by the howling, furious child for a few moments, and she looked down at her without saying anything. Then she sat down flat on the floor beside her and waited. Except for Lottie's angry screams, the room was quiet. This was head pats. Thank you. This was a new state of affairs for Lottie, who was accustomed to hearing other people protest and implore and command and coax her by turns. To find that the only person near her did not seem to mind in the least how she kicked and screamed was unusual, and it made it necessary for her to pause her sobbing in order to see what was going on. She opened her tight-shut, screaming eyes to see who this person was, and found that it was only another little girl, but it was the one who owned Emily and all the nice things. She looked at Lottie quite curiously, but said nothing. Lottie sucked in a gulp of air, but the noise she made sounded rather half-hearted. I haven't any mama. Neither have I. Lottie blinked rapidly at the unexpected answer. Her legs and arms ceased their kicking and lay flat against the floor. Where is your mama? In the ground. She went to heaven, but I am sure she comes out sometimes to see me, though I don't see her. So does yours. Perhaps they can both see us now. Perhaps they are both in this room. I mean, do you actually know that her mom died? Her mom could have also just left or something. Here. Lottie sat bolt upright and looked around. Seeing nothing, her face began to scrunch up again. We can't see the people who live in heaven, even when they come to visit us. They travel like wind or sunlight. You can only feel them for a moment if they touch you, and then they're gone. They can go anywhere in an instant, but most of the time, they stay up above. Their land is full of lilies, fields and fields of lilies, and when the soft wind blows over them, it wafts the scent of them into the air. And everybody always breathes it, because that soft wind is always blowing. Wind and sunlight, and the streets are always shining. And the little children run around in the lily fields and gather armfuls of them. Yes, and nobody has allergies. And they laugh and make little wreaths to wear on their little heads and spin cloaks and dresses of soft lily petals. The petals never go dry or brown, but when the children grow tired of them, so now she's talking about dead children, they toss the petals into the air and they turn into clouds. Bet you're regretting having no belief now. I mean, I feel like they said the event stole my belief, which is like, what? Lottie had by now quite forgotten to cry, and was leaning forward, hanging on every word that Sara spoke of this nonsensical lily land. In that shining city, people are never tired. However far they walk, they can float anywhere they like. And there are walls made of pearl and gold all around the city, but they are low enough for the people to go on and lean on them and look down on the earth and smile. From those walls, sometimes they dance down to visit us. Other times, they whisper beautiful messages to the wind and hope that someday we will hear them. Oh, I want to go there. I haven't any mama here. Sara saw the danger signal and took hold of Lottie's hand with a coaxing little laugh. I will be your mama in this school. We will play that you are like my little girl, and Emily shall be your sister. Shall she? Yes, let us go and tell her, and then I will wash your face and brush your hair, and both of us shall have a little bit more family. Oh, there you go. Let's do Marriott this time, I suppose. Because we did her twice, her once. So let's do that. Marriott, is it alright if I ask you a few questions about yourself? Ben sure, mademoiselle. What do you wish to know? What is your family name? Miss Minchin did not say. Dumas, mademoiselle. Oh, are you a relative of the great French writer, the author of The Three Musketeers? Marriott chuckled kindly. Non, mademoiselle. Well, not in a close way. I am not. There are many with the name of Dumas, and I cannot know what connections there are between all people. Do you know all of your cousins, and your cousins' cousins, and all who bear the name of Crewe? I do not know anyone else named Crewe except for myself and Papa. So you see, I cannot say who my relatives might be at some distance. That's a long way to say maybe, maybe not. But also, yes, people can have the same last name and not be related. You could have also just said that too. Or you could have just left it at no. Sarah nodded. Where in France do you come from? I grew up in Limoges. You may have heard of the Limoges box, the porcelain? Sarah shook her head. Well, they were famous once. Perhaps they will be again. For now, like much of Limoges, they have faded. What is it like there? What is it like anywhere? It is a city, not so large as Paris or London, no. Is it near Paris? Non, pas très proche. It is in the south. You must rely on the railways to travel between them. All trains lead to Paris. Sarah tried to picture it. She did not know of Limoges, but it was in the south. Then it must be warm and green, surely. She had seen paintings of France, stone houses, arches and bridges, rolling green hills, hanging vines, and sunlight. Always sunlight, not the fogs of London. It must be lovely. As you say, mademoiselle. How did you come to take this position? What I mean to say is, my papa and I did not have time to visit France, and I did not meet you until you came here. Did you meet my papa somewhere else? Non, we have never met in flesh and blood. Your papa, he is a gentleman and knows many other gentlemen in fine cities like Paris. When it happens that he wished you appointed maid, he wrote to this Paris gentleman to describe you. And I have a cousin who works for this Paris gentleman, and he thought of me, and so the arrangements were made. And I am glad that they were. Sarah smiled. The gentle warmth of Mariette's regard was very comforting for the little girl, one who had been separated from her family and made to live off in a faraway place. It was true that Mariette was, for the most part, only another stranger, like any other in Miss Minchin's seminary. They were only just beginning to know each other. And yet, Mariette was not simply a stranger who might come and go, like the students. She was Sarah's maid, the beginnings of her very own household. She might, in time, be the closest thing to family. I wonder about the friend my papa has in Paris. I wonder if he ever knew my mother. Girls, gather round, if you please. We will be welcoming a special dance instructor today, who is visiting us for runs. She will be leading you in exercises to increase your grace. Go and change into your leotard-style dancing costumes. She swept off to her office, and the girls cluttered eagerly together. A special dance instructor? Do you suppose she might be from Ballet de l'Opéra de Paris? The Ballet of Opera? The Paris Opera Ballet, of course. The absolute birthplace of romantic ballet, and they all go all the way back to the court of the Sun King. Oh. I am not so fond of ballet as you are. No one is as fond of ballet as Jessie is. It is a sickness with her. Blush. I wonder if there really is a sickness that can make you like one thing or one person more than another. And if it were, would anyone wish it to be cured? Such things you imagine. She didn't imagine it. She was prompted by your bitch bestie over there. In any event, it might not be the ballet. Like, if she was actually sassy about it, she would be mocking her for saying something so stupid. Oh, she likes something? Oh, I guess it must be a sickness. Does that mean you have no sickness because you're a basic bitch who doesn't like anything? But she's not. She's not sassy. In any event, it might not be ballet. She's a special instructor, after all. Perhaps we will be permitted to practice social dances, perhaps even the waltz. My father says the waltz is, shocking. Women aren't allowed to have personalities. I mean, I don't want to say liking ballet is a personality, though. That's just something you like. Watching you attempt to perform it is no doubt would be. If we were allowed the waltz, I would be dancing with Jessie. Oh. Perhaps we better go and get our costumes? They're not costumes, though. Ermengarde is very sensible. It took only a little praise as to make poor Miss St. John look pleased. I mean, because she gets constant ribbing, that it probably wouldn't take much. Just anything that's not ribbing her. The dancing lessons did not progress quite as anyone expected. I do not see how this can be described as dancing. It is preparation for dancing. We are learning to stretch and relax our bodies so that we may move more beautifully. It's French. Sarah, is this the way things are usually done in France? I have never asked Mariette whether she took dance lessons. I want to walk on my hands. Leave your hands on the floor long enough and Ermagerd will trot on them for you. Oh dear. Ah, Jessie, be careful. You are tickling me. The instructor said it was imperative that we rub deeply to warm our muscles. To speak of muscles upon a lady is very unseemly. Okay. Your hands are very strong, Ermengarde. Oh, did I hurt you? No, not a bit. It feels nice. It is a little like having my hair brushed. It makes me feel like a cat being petted. I want to be a cat. I want to dance like a cat. Cats don't dance. They dance at the court of the king of cats. How do they dance, Sarah? Do they stand on their hind legs? Well, girls, cease chattering and get ready for your lessons. Yes, Miss Minchin. Well, I want to get my belief and vigor up, but this game won't listen to me. Let's see. Go for a walk, go for a walk, go for a walk. Oh, well, I'm gonna do... Let's do... more belief. I don't know, whatever. I still got book learning. We're already maxed out. No! How is this system working? I didn't even pick anything with books in it, did I? Are you well, ma petite? Yes, I am only feeling a little tired. The days have been growing warmer, but the air never feels the same the way it did in India. Wow, so strange. Being in a different country has the atmosphere feeling different, huh? Has the environment and the weather and the air different because you're in a different country? So shock, so shock. I suppose Ermengarde is right, and it is the smell of London. Even if I cannot distinguish one scent above the others, that would mean London, it would always be there. As I am. Bon courage, mademoiselle. I have something here which will brighten your day. A letter from Papa! Oh, merci, Mariette. Merci beaucoup. She did not open it at once, but pressed the envelope to her chest. My papa has sent this. It has been in his hands. If a letter can come from his hands into mine, then we are never so far apart. I mean, it's a weird system. At last, she took out the paper and began to read. Drink some water real quick. My dear little missus, here I am, once again, in Bombay. I have little to tell you of my adventures, for no sooner did I reach my home. My home? You mean our home? Then I began thinking of you and putting pen to paper. Therefore, I have seen little since I left you other than ships, and you remember those. Sarah closed her eyes and let herself remember the voyage from India, the big ship, the Lascars passing silently to and fro on it, and the children playing about the hot deck. There had been women on board, the wives of some young officers, who had invited Sarah to take tea with them and delighted in making her speak her unusual thoughts. but most importantly, there had been Papa! I felt it important to write to you at once so that you would not worry about your poor old Papa! All along on the ocean. All is well. I have returned, and my life here is remarkably unchanged in my absence. Now, it is your duty to let me know all that has happened since I left you, and all the friends you have made, the books you have read, and the sights you have seen in London. Do you remember Colonel Grange and his little girl Isabel? In a year, she will be old enough that she must leave for England as well. I'm relying on your advice to tell her what to expect in her schooling. Give my regards to Emily and any companion she may have acquired. Yours always, your loving Papa. She held the letter in her hands, already beginning to imagining the many things she might write in response. I love you too, Papa! Well, our belief keeps going to trash. Let's do the last event for Ermiker. This time, it was Sara who was curled up near a window when Ermiker found her. Sara, I want to ask you something, if you're not busy. She raised her head and smiled. Only Ermiker would realize that I might be busy when I'm sitting and thinking. She can always ask me things. She paused, then added, I can't always answer, though. I might not know. Well, is it true that Miss Minchin has you to tea with visitors just so that you can speak French for them? Oh, well, I don't know if that is the only reason. I often do not say very much, and she still keeps me there for the rest of it. Some of her visitors are not very interested in French at all. Some of them prefer poetry and want to tell me how they themselves saw India once upon a time. But sometimes, yes, Miss Minchin has guests who speak French and wishes me to converse with them. You really can't speak it then, not just a few words or a sentence you memorize. Ermengarde's respectful tone made Sara feel a bit off balance. She tucked up her feet, sat with her hands clasped around her knees. I can't speak it because I have heard it all my life. You could speak it too, if you had always heard it. Oh no, I couldn't. I could never speak it. Why not? Ermengarde shook her head so that the pigtails wobbled. You have heard me before. I'm always like that. I can't say the words. They're so strange. I dare say that little French girls think the same things about English if they try to learn the language for the first time. If you had heard it as a child. But I did. My father has spoken 7 languages, or maybe 8. I forget. I forget everything. I always have. Another fun little lion fact, if you will. When I was growing up, Mama Lion spoke English, but some of the caretakers I was with during daycare spoke Spanish primarily. And I guess they tried to teach me a little Spanish. But what ended up happening is that I jumbled together English and Spanish, and not in the way of like toggling back and forth, but just like smushing the languages together to the point that no one understood me. And then I would cry and cry and cry because no one could understand me. So then Mama Lion had to take me to a speech therapist to undo this mutant language I made. And then people stopped speaking Spanish around me because it broke my brain. So I feel like me and Ermengarde have a lot in common. Just because people are speaking a language around you doesn't mean you're going to pick it up. Sometimes you just break your brain. Your brain cannot handle more than one language. And it just be like that sometimes. Maybe that's why, like, even when I try to study a language, it just goes in one ear and out the other. My brain just cannot. My father never forgets. He has libraries with thousands of volumes in them, and he knows every one of them by heart. He could have a photographic memory, too. He says that when I was very young, he used to speak to me in different languages every day because he hoped that I would learn them all, but it only made me cry. Yep. My nurse made him stop because she was afraid that he would confuse me so much I would give up on talking altogether. Yep. I heard it from her that he says I am a severe trial. Aww. Oh dear. Hello, La, como you doing? It's literally just that's that. Because he is so very clever, and I am notably and unmistakably dull. I'm the monumental dunce of the school. I mean, you came out of his balls though, so he only has himself to blame if he has defects. Swimmers. That's not on you, girl. I can't speak French. I can't recite poems without fumbling over the words. My handwriting is too big and lumpy. I can't calculate quickly. I can't keep my king straight. I'm not good at anything. But you are clever, aren't you, Sarah? The question was asked with a touch of awe in her voice. It made Sarah feel slightly odd to be the subject of such open admiration. Come sorry. Gosh. That's a little better, but you're still technically saying half of one word and then one whole word. My gibberish was no words in either language, just gibberish that sounds like it has a foundation in English or Spanish. Sarah looked out the window into the dingy square where the sparrows were hopping and twittering on the wet iron railings and the city branches of the trees, and reflected a few moments. People have often said that I am clever, but am I? And if I am, then how did I come to be that way? Honey, if people are born dumb, then some people are just born clever. You just are. Don't worry about it. I don't know. I can't tell. You don't have to tell. People tell you that. I think you are. I think you're wonderful. She made up her own damn language, pioneering behavior for such a small child. I mean, a child who just ended up not understood and crying. Although at least it wasn't like I made a secret language with my dead twin ghost. At least it wasn't like that. Ermagerd did not know why a lump came into her throat, and her eyes felt as if tears were in them. Lavania and Jessie are best friends. I wish we could be best friends. I don't know, it seems like you're more crushing on me than anything, or like infatuated. I don't think we could be friends if you're infatuated with me. You're clever, and I'm the stupidest child in the school, but I do so like you. I'm glad of that. It makes me very thankful when you are liked. She stood up from the window and took Ermagerd's hands in hers. Yes, we will be friends, the very best of friends. And I'll tell you what else. A sudden gleam lit her face. I can help you with your French lessons. You can try. I feel like she's coming from a good place, but I feel like Ermagerd is clearly like, I don't want to read. I don't want to try to learn French. I just want to be my dumb self and do things that I enjoy, which I'm not sure if she has things that she enjoys, but sometimes like people can want to be helpful, but they're being a little overbearing with it. Like, oh, it's one thing to be like, if you have low self-esteem, you'd be like, I don't know if I can do this. And it's like, oh, well, let's give it a shot. But she is dead ass saying she has tried all her life and it doesn't work out. And she's just like, oh, well, let's just keep trying with me then. And it's like, girl is tired probably of trying. She just wants to probably just be herself and not be judged and just chill. At least that's how I'm interpreting all this. But, you know, it could be one of those cute things where like, oh my god, I finally understand French because this girl that I like is teaching me. It could be that cliche arc. Who knows? Haste! I think I hear Sarah coming. Quickly, step aside. Don't let her see us. But what? Shh! Lavania took hold of her friend's shoulders and pushed her back against the wall. Wait a moment. There, she's gone. Why are you avoiding Sarah? Ever since she got that letter, it's been nothing but India this and India that. If I have to hear her say that word again, I'm afraid the hair will fly right off my head. I like her stories. Do you know her father faced down a tiger? He shot the one whose skin Sara has in her room. I mean, I also get that this is back in the day, but like, it's 2023. We don't really admire people who just kill animals for sport. That's why she likes it so. She lies on it and strokes its dead head and talks to it as if it were a cat. That is simply disgusting. If it were a cat, it would be the one that he had killed. Exactly. What next? She will drown Tybalt and then have him stuffed for a pillow? Okay, I like her a little bit more now. I don't think it's the same thing at all. Sara says the tiger was attacking an outpost and he had to shoot it. Alright, so it was self-defense. Doesn't mean you have to turn it into a rug though. You could have just buried it and been done with it. But whatever. Also, you can also argue that humans are an invasive species and we're always taking away land from animals. So we're always like, oh, the animals came into the city and started harassing us. But what was there before the city? The animals, like, home. And we tore it down so that we could have our homes there. So, mean. Sara tells stories. You know that. Well, I think her father sounds very interesting, and so does India. It's a filthy, disgusting place. Okay, calm down, girl. Rank with foul humors, and don't you forget it. Okay, let's calm down. Come along now. All right. Lavania led, and Jessie followed. Alright, which one is patience again? Time. I guess we can try to get some more patience back. Little Miss Racist. Truly. But they're so young that I feel like this is basically not even her thoughts. It's probably just the thoughts of the adults around her. Like, I feel like at this age, you have to kind of wait until they, like, get a little bit older and they can explore the world on their own and come to their own conclusions. But I feel like she's deadass just spitting out what she's heard from adults. And, like, one little girl is probably not gonna... I mean, maybe if I actually played her and try to get them to get closer... Maybe the pro tac could convince her otherwise. Or if she had photos and stuff, then she can start to undo some of that conditioning. I remember going through a phase when I was younger that I had some problematic thoughts because I kept hearing those thoughts from adults around me. And it was only until I, like, grew up a little bit and like exposed myself to other people and cultures and stuff that I was able to be like, oh, wait a minute, this is not as black and white as the adults made it seem like growing up. So yes, she's Little Miss Racist, but I don't hold it against her personally in this moment. Well, no, because I've met kids, especially when I was younger, I've met kids who didn't have, like, shitty adults around them. And they were, like, the most positive, inclusive, respectful kids. So not all kids are surrounded by douchebag adults. Like, there were kids who were actually raised in good homes and who actually didn't have prejudices. Like, they existed. It was very wild for me. I was like, what? Especially looking back as an adult. I'm like, well, damn, you lucked out with that one. Okay, first time I didn't get books even though I didn't pick books. So that's good. Ermagerd, what do you have there? A new book? The plump girl. Okay. Why do you gotta say plump girl? Jeez. The plump girl sighed, showing none of the delight Sara would have found in such a possession. My father sent it to me to be, quote, enriching. I don't see how books have made me any richer so far. May I see it? She took the volume from Ermengarde's hand and examined the gold lettering on the cover. Poems Antiques by Luck blah blah blah. A book of French poetry. She wouldn't even be able to understand the poetry. She definitely does not look plump. Like, okay, if you like superimpose our like Sarah's body over her, like she's only like what, 2 inches thicker than her. Like, if anything, Ermengarde is like average, and then Sara is like more twiggy. But you know how it is, body shaming and all that. Sarah's excitement only deepened the other girl's dismay. Would you like me to read it to you? I'm certain that if... What's this? I guess it depends on how old they are, too. I mean, they seem pretty young. I would say, like... I'm thinking middle school, to be honest. Like, middle school aged. Because they think the 8-year-old is a baby. But they don't seem like high school age. Especially since if people, you know, die younger in this day and age, they're probably middle schoolers. Yeah, they said the Lottie is 8 years old. Oh my god, she has no mama! She has no mama! Listen, this is like if I had to write a story about a child without like raising one or being around one. I'd just be like, they act like a toddler up until like all of a sudden they are teenagers, and then they act like a teenager. What's this? Also, I feel like, well, never mind. Oh, Sara, you have a new book, French poetry, very improving. As long as it isn't one of those shocking new decadent poets. A proper lady should not read such work. She can't read anyway, so it's fine. I'm sure it's nothing of that sort. What would you know about it? I was speaking to Sara. Actually, the book belongs to Ermengarde. What? Don't be silly. She can't even read it. Ermengarde grabbed the book. It's mine. She turned and walked away. You ought not to tease her so. I didn't say anything that isn't true. What good is a book of French poetry to someone like her? Such a waste. She'll probably never even open it. She'll probably have simply given it to you. Admit it. You know that I'm right. You may be right, but it was a gift from her father. I'm sure she will treasure it. No, you're misreading that, honey. Get this bitch out of my face. Not every girl is devoted to her father as you seem to be, Sara Crewe. That's what I'm saying, but little girl doesn't know that. Like, Protag is in her own little world. Like, if she wasn't so bitchy, she'd just be talking facts, though. Just talking facts in a very bitchy way. Okay, what do you want to do? Do you want to talk to Lottie again? I think we did 3 of her, 2 of her, and I think we only did 1 of Lottie, maybe? Or 2 of Lottie. Can't remember. Sara's room was a bright little jewel in the sometimes drab nest that was Miss Munchen's select seminary. It remained a bright jewel even when Sara was not inside it, which could be seen now by the small figure that crept through the open door. Don't break her doll. Lottie closed the door behind her, then climbed up in Sara's bed. She placed her legs just a little bit apart and carefully patted down her skirt to ensure the petticoats were shown exactly as much as little as intended. I'm a dolly. The music stopped eerily. Then she laid her arms on her side, tilted back her head, and waited. A minute later, Sara and her maid Mariette entered the room. A flower that looks like the same upside down as it does right side up, but it can't think of... Her voice paused briefly as she came into her room, and Lottie knew she must have been noticed. Quickly, she closed her eyes. She would never be able to keep a straight face if she looked at Sara. After that moment, Sara continued. My goodness, Emily must have been busy today. I think she was in such a hurry to get back to her seat when we came in that she didn't quite reach the same position. I see, mademoiselle. Will you tell us what you have been up to, Emily? No? You are very good at keeping secrets. I think we ought to change her clothes and get her ready for bed. She must be very tired. Do not forget the new doll. Lottie fought not to giggle, imagining Sara picking her up next and changing her clothes like a doll. Up, time to drink some water. Hello, Rogue. How are you? Did I sound thirsty? But also, I have to do a recording later on today, and I'm like, oh, so much talking today. And usually I barely use my voice because I live alone and talk to no one. Just on the cusp of a total mental breakdown. Word. Listen, I don't know if this visual novel will help with the mental breakdown, but if I can help distract in any way, I hope that I can help with that. But sometimes having a breakdown can be very cathartic in and of itself. Sometimes if you hold on to things for too much, for too long, it just wears us down and burns us out. So sometimes it's also good to just let it out. But that's up to you to decide. But for now, we are doing a visual novel that takes place in London centuries ago. Centuries ago. I could do with a little distraction. Okay, distraction it is. But she had to keep her eyes shut or she would spoil the joke. So we have a little 8-year-old girl basically pretending to be a doll right now. Oh, I'm sure she'll be fine. Dolls have to know how to be still for very long periods of time. A doll in the shop window where everyone can see her must stand for hours and hours without even blinking. And this girl pretends to believe that dolls are real, like in Toy Story, and they just pretend to be not real when humans are around. I would not like to try it, standing so long. Here, take Emily's shoes and put them away safely. It would be terrible if she had lost them. She needs to be able to run quickly. Yes, mademoiselle. Lottie began to realize that no one intended to pay attention to her. Sara and Mariette continued to fuss over Emily, adjusting her nightgown on her pillows. The new doll was utterly neglected. Lottie couldn't help herself any longer. She whined. What was that? Oh, Lottie, when did you come in? I thought you were a doll. I don't want to be a doll. Being a doll is boring. Well, I think it's interesting enough for a doll to be a doll, but it's not so much fun for a girl to be one. Don't you think, Mariette? As you say, mademoiselle. Okay. Because anything that helps me take my mind off of balancing my job, housework, finances, side job, my wife's health, and my daughter's attitude towards me would be greatly appreciated. I will try my best. But this story has... it's a story about a girl who is separated from her father because she's in boarding school in England and she grew up in India. It's like, what is that movie? There was like a little girl that lived in an attic or something and she had like a pet monkey or something. Wait, was she an orphan? It was like, my aunt was obsessed with that movie and she would constantly play it. But yeah, it's not very exciting, I would say. But it's cute in its own way. Mariette, are you... Oh, I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to disturb you. It's quite all right. Oh, and she has a maid. Are you reading? Wait, that book. I've seen it before. It was the same familiar copy of Poems Antique. Antique? Your friend Emmergert St. John made a gift of it to me. Oh, damn. So she was like, I'm not going to gift it to Sarah. I'm going to gift it to her maid. She thought I might appreciate a volume de... I also can't speak French. To feel more at home. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't think of it. Would you like me to buy you more French books? I don't mind. Non, mademoiselle. I am content. But it was very kindly thought of Ermagerd for such a young girl to notice and think of a maid, one who was not in her employ. Many would not. Ermagerd is very nice. I didn't even consider Mariette. I wanted that book for myself, but Ermagerd has seen the person who would benefit from it the most. I mean, that's like saying like, oh, that Asian kid would love an Asian book because they're Asian. I mean, a book doesn't really make up, like if they gave you a book from India, would that make you miss India any less? Or like if they gave you a picture of your papa, would that make you miss your papa less? Like, no. But it's a cute thought from a child, but like, chill. Besides, I almost went full nuclear anger at home, but I had to contain myself not to explode. Oh yeah, especially when it's anger out towards other people, it can be very alarming, to say the least. Well, again, this is a thing, but it might not be enough of a thing for you, but we'll see. Especially with my commentary. Also, it's a book. Like, y'all can just share it. Like, when she's done reading it, you can just be like, oh, can I borrow it? Like, it's just, they're just so traumatic about this book. The most. Alright. Let's see. Honestly, I don't know. I'm scared. Mama Lion is like, she's like 6'2", I think, or something like that. But she's like, I call her like a gentle giant, because Mama Lion rarely loses her cool. Like, she's a very like quiet, self-reserved person, and I've only seen her lose her cool like once, and that was like at a gas station. And I mean, Mama Lion also, like, again, I was a kid, so like even if things were bothering her, she wouldn't tell me about it because I was her daughter, not her emotional support. So I remember this person like cut her off in the gas line because she wasn't like inching forward. Like, a lot of people inch forward like every 5 seconds, but Mama Lion was like waiting until there was like more of a gap before she went forward or something. But this person kept like honking at her or whatever to like move up, even though there was literally nowhere to go because you were just waiting for the pump to clear. So this person like drove around us and like cut in front of her, and Mama Lion lost it. Like, she got out the car and was yelling at the other person, and they were yelling back and forth, and like the person at the gas station had to come over. It was like a whole thing. And again, I've never seen Mama Lion lose her cool like that, so I was just petrified and scared, and it wasn't even like directed at me, you know. So sometimes, like, you know, anger can be very destructive or like scary, even if it's not directed towards us. But you know, they didn't end up fighting or anything. Like, it was fine. And I wasn't, like, scared of Mama Lion from then on out. But it definitely left an impression on me. Yeah, it was wild. And then I remember I blew up at Mama Lion once. And she didn't blow up back at me, which I was very appreciative for. She just kind of like let me explode, and then she just kind of walked away and just let me be angry. But yeah, I feel like I don't explode that often. It's very rare, but yeah, it can be scary. Sara was resting in her room with a book when there came a quiet knock on the door. Sara, Mama. Oh, right. We're technically her fake mother now. What is it, Lottie? Have you come for tea? Mariette had promised us a special tea. Treats. I was like, what? Apricot tea? Apricot tea. Apricot sandwich tea is what I thought she was saying. Wait, apricot sandwiches? Do you put fruit in a sandwich like that? Oh, yes. No. Sara, Mama, do you like school? You like school, don't you? I don't know. I wasn't something she had previously spent a great time of... Why not? It's more or less the same as jam. But she didn't say jam, though. And when we're talking about, like, peanut butter and jelly, we don't say, let's have a peanut butter and grape sandwich. We say a jelly sandwich. She didn't say apricot jam or apricot jelly. She said apricot sandwich, as if they have a sandwich and they just stick a bunch of apricots in it. I'm just saying. That seems very weird to me. Especially when it's people trying to micromanage me and my work and condescending remarks. Oh yeah, I mean, who could blame you though? I feel like I have to disassociate sometimes if I'm being micromanaged, because I'm just like, okay. But it also rarely happened. After all, whether I like it or not, I am here now. I feel like it might be a little annoying to talk to someone like her sometimes. I feel like I have someone in my life actually that talks like this sometime. And I'm like, okay, but like just answer the question though. I don't need your whole philosophical journey right now. Just like, I asked you whether or not you like school. It's not that hard of a question. You don't need to be like, well, it doesn't matter whether or not I like it. I'm here now. Just answer the question. Oh, well, definitely hope that you're able to... because that is exhausting. Especially emotionally. I don't think I could say that I don't like it. Everyone is kind to me, and my rooms are pleasant. No, I meant school, with books and numbers and remembering things. Oh, yes, I like books very much. Could you please help me with my lessons? Because it's hard to pay attention, and then Miss Minchin scolds me. Well, also, aren't you all in the same classroom? I feel like you shouldn't be, like, you shouldn't be learning the same thing at the same level, because you're too young to be learning what they're learning, and they should be past where you are. I don't like it when she says my name like that. Miss Le, I don't like it. But you make everything interesting. Of course I'll help you with your schoolwork, but you still have to learn it. All right. Well, that was cute. I thought that would be like... Wait, I can do another event? Oh, are we coming up to the end of the... let's see. Should we do Lottie again, or should we do Mariette? Wait, did we do Mariette twice or 3 times? I'm trying to do everyone 3 times. Let's see. Let's do them. Oh, did I pick the wrong one by accident? Oh, yeah. I mean, there's like, you have to find whatever works for you, right? So, like, for some people, it's breathing. For some people, it could be yoga. For some people, it's going on a walk. Like, there's so many things out there that can help try to, oops. Oh no, what happened? That people try to like help regulate their emotions and calm themselves. But sometimes just simply trying to remove yourself from the situation isn't a possibility. So it's just gotta kind of trial and error and figure out what works for you, because otherwise, yeah, it's hard to control. And it could definitely have an effect on your physical health as well. I mean, I guess that's kind of like the idea behind like self-care, when people are talking about like, oh, all these different things that you can do. And a lot of those things don't work for everyone. And it can kind of feel like there's nothing that will work for you. But I believe there's something out there for everyone that can help them in these highly emotional times. We just gotta find it. I guess that could be said about a lot of different things. Emotions, relationships, friendships, jobs, things like that. I always said out loud that I want a month-long vacation in Montana in the woods. No cell reception or internet, and just camp in the woods for a month. See, I can see how that would be relaxing for some people, but I can't be left alone with nothing like that. It would drive me insane. But see, that's my point. Different things for different folks. And maybe you can't go away for a whole month, but maybe there's like a smaller version of that. But maybe not as well. Well, what did I do? I must have went back by accident. Okay, so I went back and was able to pick something else, I guess? Or, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. Come and see, come and see. Ah, mademoiselle, you do not need to tug at me. It's a promise. I will follow. Her hand still held in Sarah's, Marinette stepped into the classroom. I'm very sorry. I was too excited to show her the classroom. That's quite all right, then. Now, what is it that you wish to show me? Well, as it happens, it's more what I wished for you to show me. Miss Minchin keeps a globe in the schoolroom. I was hoping that you could show me where in France you were born. Ah, if it pleases you, mademoiselle. I do not think it will make much impact for you, though. The distance between one city and another, compared to the world, it is not so much. Okay. Dutifully, she turned the globe to bring France into view. Somewhere near here, I believe, would be Limoux. Sarah followed Mariette's finger, then smiled to herself. You were right. It does not tell me anything more than I already knew. Translation. Damn, girl, chill. Yeah, she ain't gotta be tugging on people. Have she no manners? Could you show me where you lived in India? Here, I think. Or somewhere nearby? It's hard to be sure, but this is where the ship took us. Sarah tilted her head and considered Mariette curiously. You are very different from an Indian servant. My ayah was always kind to me, but she would never tell me if I were doing something wrong or making a mistake. Even if I asked for her opinion, she would always say that I was right. It was very confusing sometimes until I learned to ask my papa when I needed to know something. Your papa wrote of you that you were a clever and curious child who was eager to learn and who would appreciate having the reasons explained to you. Yes, that is just so. Oh, hunt and fish? Yeah. I don't hunt or fish, so it literally would just be me sitting in a cabin losing my mind. But yes, that does sound nice for people who would like to hunt and fish. Because you do that in the woods. Cabin in the woods. Cabin in the woods. Although, I've seen too many movies about cabins in the woods, and I, at a baseline, would also not want to be in a cabin in the woods by myself. No, no, no. Too scary. Too scary. Oh, snap. It's a raid. Hi, Mai. Thank you for the raid. Hi, hi. Oh my gosh, the bombs get so violent. I keep forgetting. It's so cute, though. So cutely violent. I just played Oh My Witch, an indie otome game. Ooh, I haven't heard of it. I'm gonna look it up. I am playing a little lily princess. It got steamy. Okay, listen. When I was making the thumbnail for this game, I like Googled it, right? And like some of the pictures looked very steamy. And I was like, ooh, this is gonna be a Yuri for the ages. And I have been playing this for 2.5 hours. And there has been no steam. But also, the characters are like little girls. And so I'm like, well, I don't want to see these like middle schoolers in steamy situations either. So I'm like, what were these pictures that I was seeing on the internet? But so far it's just been a very wholesome, like, little girl goes to a boarding school and she's trying to make friends. Like, I'm so confused right now. Hi, Lion. I hope your day has been as sweet as you are. Oh, thank you, Auntie Inari. Like, my day only started like 2 hours before the stream because I'm like an inverted time person. But I hope that the rest of my day is sweet. Well, I'm gonna hang out with a friend virtually after this, so that should be fun. Can we just try for the wholesome ending with no dating? Wait. Do you actually know this game? Is there like, yeah, because I feel like I don't know what else is, because there has been like no real romance, maybe like cute middle school crushes. So I think this is just like a wholesome story, but I'm gonna have to redo my thumbnail. I don't know if you saw it on Twitter, but my thumbnail definitely suggests more Yuri, and I'm just like, after playing this, I'm gonna have to revise it. But yes, just I'm so confused. Yeah, I was very confused as soon as the game started. Yeah, we don't need to see little children in situations, but yeah, I'm gonna have to change the thumbnail. But yeah, this has just been, so far, she's just making friends, and there's a little girl without a mom and she's sad about it. So yeah, I mean, I just saw it. Yeah, okay, so you could understand. Thank you for the follow, Auntie Inari. Welcome to the Savannimals. But yeah, so you can see how, like, literally looking at this still of this little girl and my thumbnail does not compute. So I'm gonna change it for sure. Unless there's like a time jump and they're like older or something. I'm gonna have to delete that tweet. But yes, just a little bit about myself. My name is Little Lion, and I love story-rich indie games, especially indie games made by minority game devs who I spotlight on my socials. So yeah, today we're playing a visual novel. They could have time jumps, different arcs. Yeah, so that's what I'm hoping for. I think when I looked up this game, it had like a playtime of 6 or 7 hours. So at 2.5 hours, I'm not even halfway through technically. So like it could change. Imagine they literally just do a time jump right at the end only to make the romances not weird and creepy. Yeah, they'd be like, oh, based off of how many times you hung out with so-and-so in your childhood, 5 years into the future, you are now a couple. Yay! The end. because, yeah, I definitely don't see it right now. Listen, that one I played, it was all cute and stuff until the ending. Man, I was naked and I was like, what? Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I bet you that's probably what's gonna happen here. I was kind of thinking the same thing. At the end of the day, to just cut to X years later. I mean, I guess I get that though, because sometimes you be like watching movies and stuff and you wish there was just like one extra scene that like told you how things ended up, if that makes sense. Like, what visual novel did I play? Butterfly Soup. They were all in high school, and then like at the end, like post credits, I think it was, they had like a little scene that showed you a little bit of their adult life, and it was like perfect, you know, because it was like, oh, you saw them in high school, and then you got like a 5-minute scene of what their life is like now as adults, and I was like, okay, that was cute. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's what is good. But when it's just kind of like a more abrasive time skip, and then you're just like here now, all of a sudden you're just like, wait, what? It definitely does keep you on your toes. Oh, but I'm gonna check out your otome because I want to see this X years and then all of a sudden naked person. Okay, okay, I'll check in with you later because we still have to come up with a day so we can play the monster game. Thank you for the raid again, Mai. Appreciate you. Thank you for coming in and bombing all my some animals. Listen, I was out here sweating and Chad had to watch me suffer. I mean, I feel like that's all chat ever wants, is to just watch us suffer. They get so much joy from it. Mai needs a cold shower. Yeah, me too. Love you muchos. I'll harass you in a little bit. Yes. Take your cold shower. That's why you need an emergency sensor handy. Oh my. I truly hope that I don't need my emergency sensor. Hi, Chuck. Wait, Chuck, aren't you streaming? I thought you streamed on Thursday. How did you get here? You need that hand for Mixie's boob. Oh dear. I think I have my rage sticker. I moved it to tomorrow. Oh, okay. Because I assumed you like came in at the beginning right before your stream and then you left. I was like, oh my. Listen, I feel you on that though, because there was like one visual novel I played that had so many F-bombs and so many other sensory things that I was like, there's no way I could do this live because I have to like censor all this and I just don't want to get in trouble. So I feel that. But yes, enjoy your cold shower. Relax after your stream. And again, thank you for the read. I want to hold you hostage with my jovial conversation. Let's see, where was I? Yes, it was another sign of how much her papa had considered her needs and well-being, and it made Sarah feel warm to think about it. Every time Mariette speaks to me, it is a gift from papa. Very welcome. Nah, please hold me hostage, it's fun. Yay! What is it called? Stockholm Syndrome, if I remember that word correctly. I do miss my Aya sometimes, and the other servants from our home. They were always part of my life, even the ones that worked directly for my papa and did not speak to me. They were familiar. Also, I love how she's like, I love the people that belong to me. She's like, I know there's like other girls in this dorm, but like, I like being around the people I own. Oh, time to hydrate and stretch. Boop-a-doo. Stretchy time. Oh, I also have a new form. I have a new form, and it's called candy form. Candy. It's so cute. I want to show you, so I'm going to redeem it. Oh, you redeemed it for me. Okay, time to reveal. Dun, da, da, da. candy form! Aren't I so cute? I am made of the candy. Right? I was so excited when I saw this on Twitter. I was like, I need to have this in my life. No, the redeem says you cannot chew me and spit me out. When you called upon my candy form, you agreed to the terms of service that you will not put me in your mouth. Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, I guess if you don't spit me out and just keep me in there. Yep, I walked right into that one. I'm gonna have to update the TOS. Even if you don't spit me out, please do not put me in your mouth. But yes, candy form, and we have a plush form on the way. It probably won't be done for another few weeks though, but we're gonna have plushie form too. Okay, if you promise not to chew, I suppose you can have a little taste of Candy Lion because she looks so sweet. Look at her, she's so cute. Ah! Actually, when she was redeemed earlier today, it was really hard for me to focus on the game because I was like, oh, look at her, she's so cute. And the candy pops up when I talk. It's just so cute. It's just so cute. Oh, I wish I could see them again. All of my life, my Candy Lion life. I suppose my life hasn't really been that long, has it? But for all of my life, I always knew that I would have to go away like the other children did. The climate of India is very bad for British children, so we must return to England to go to school, and that is what everyone says. I feel like this is probably based off of real events, too. Need a closed-mouthed version for the PNG? Oh, yeah! I, literally did this, 5 minutes before the stream, so I did mean to make a closed-mouth version of her, yeah. Probably a little, yeah, mouth. The little 3 mouth. I don't know what to call it. Brits need to be raised in Fredericton, Indian too. I mean, the way to describe it is London is what always rainy and cloudy, and India is also always sunny and bright. Little Princess, thank you so much. I was talking about the Little Princess earlier. I was like, this is dead as the movie with the little girl living in the attic and the monkey, but no one knew what I was talking about. Thank you so much. I was like, I don't know how else to describe this movie right now. I mean, this game is also called a Little Lily Princess, so maybe they took inspiration. Oh my gosh, just swooped in and saved the day. I was like, and describing it as a girl living in a basement with the little monkey makes this movie sound so much more suspect than it is. And I was like, but no, it was cute. They're orphans together or something. I don't know. But now people can look it up. I had a friend in England who literally said, if you come to England, do it in winter. It's cold and rainy all the time, but in winter you expect that. Oh my gosh, that is hilarious. I've never been to England. I've only been what are they called? A layover at the airport. And I've always wanted to go out and just explore the actual city. But yeah, I don't think I could live in a place that was constantly rainy. Unless I never had to leave the house. It's orphans. 2 girls live in the attic. The main girl tells the story about how her dad went to war and believed dead. Yeah, my aunt was obsessed with that movie, so I always watched it a lot as a kid. I just forgot the name and some of the details. But yeah. Nah, I'm pretty sure this is the exact same story. The characters have the same names as the movie. Dead ass? Okay, I'm definitely gonna have to Google this more. Because maybe that's exactly what is happening, you're saying. Because yeah, the main character is always imagining shit and whatever. Oh my god, wait, no, this is definitely the same story. Yep. Oh no, wait, I hope... now I remember she did have to do work after her daddy oh no. Well, see, this... Now, okay, so if that follows the same track, then we're really not gonna have a cute little romance, little Yuri romance. We're just gonna have a sad, sad story. Oh dear. Look it up, V-Chuck. I don't know. It's not an anime movie, so I don't know if you would like it, but... I haven't either, but I looked it up, and lo and behold, yep. Oh my gosh. Well, now I really want to know what the ending is. I mean, I already did want to know, but now I'm just like, what? I just need... Immediate loss of interest. Now we gotta find out, because we got romance in this place. Yeah. And again, I'm still gonna change the thumbnail. Because we're not going to be able to finish it today because I have a meeting with a friend. But I will upload the rest of it to YouTube. Unless y'all would rather do it live together, then we can do another live stream. I wonder, is the climate of England very bad for Indian children also? Perhaps that is why none of them traveled with us here. Perhaps that is so. If, as they say, the climate is very different, then it could just be very difficult to adjust. However, mademoiselle, it is also very possible that they do not wish to travel so far from the homes and families that they love. Oh, yes, I didn't think of that. I would not wish to leave either if I had the choice. I would rather be at home with my papa. It is very difficult to leave behind all that you have known and travel to a foreign land. But this is a foreign land to you. Wasn't it difficult to leave your family and your home in France? Mariette's smile was enigmatic. Who can say? Perhaps it is for the best, in all the best of all possible worlds. She's like, I have a tragic backstory, but I will not tell this little girl, so I'll just say, who knows? Whatever works for you, but live is fun because we can react together. That's true. So maybe I'll do another bonus stream next week on Thursday, and we can do part 2. Girls, gather round if you please. As the weather is particularly pleasant today, we will be taking carriages to the park for extended riding lessons. Please dress accordingly. The girls, they're so cute. Look at them. Oh, thank goodness. It's been too long. Because I'm pretty sure my thumbnail is the red-haired one, and I forgot what the other girl looks like. But I have never greatly cared for horses. It is fashionable, and a lady should know at least the basics, but it's simply not comfortable. Do you ride, Sarah? I would not truly say that I ride, but I have met horses and been in the saddle once or twice. Well, I'm sure you'll learn. You learn everything, after all. I do try. I like riding. I wish we could go further than the park, though. It is more pleasant to be on horseback in the countryside. Oh, I agree. It is much lovelier. Imagine being on horseback, galloping across the wild moors, long hair streaming behind you like a warrior queen of old. Riding astride like some hoyden, even Boadicea rode in a chariot? I'm not sure who these people are. I think I should like a chariot. Just then, their discussion was interrupted by the sound of a wailing child. Miss Minchin was attempting to bring little Lottie together with the older girls, much to her displeasure. I won't go! I won't! Maybe I am too good at the little girl's voice. What a ridiculous noise you are making. Stop that at once. Shit! You are more than old enough to begin learning. Every student at this school is expected to... I hate horses! I won't! Oh dear. This one wants to be a Disney princess. Truly, she's like the cliche, like, quote, popular, bad, sassy girl who just bullies everyone. Flinching and covering their ears with their hair, the other girls slipped away to change into a riding dress. Only Sara remained. "If you don't behave, you shall be whipped, just as a horse would be." "No!" To Sara's surprise, Lottie suddenly broke free of Miss Minchin and rushed to Sara, cowering behind her and pressing her wet face into the fabric of Sara's dress. Is this more than just a tantrum? I mean, the girl is terrified of horses, apparently. "Miss Minchin, please, could you let me talk to her alone?" "Dear Sara, you are very kind, but we simply do not have time for these shenanigans. If you can make her mind swiftly, then do so, but it must be done." Shaking her head, she walked away. Lottie wiped her grubby hands across her face. Her shrieks had quieted, but her eyes were still little fountains. "Lottie, are you afraid of horses, even though you just screamed that out and everyone heard?" "Yes." "Well, then, no wonder that you are upset." This cheerful justification startled Lottie enough to leave her frozen in mid-sniffle, mouth hanging open. Sara nodded and continued. "It is normal to be upset about things that frighten you. Only, I think it's also normal to try and make yourself less frightened, if you can. You wouldn't want to be afraid forever. Horses are really large. Yeah, especially to like this little tiny baby girl. But they can also be kind and sweet. They like apples and carrots and being petted, just like cats do." You see, I kind of relate. I actually love horses, but they don't much like me. Never met one that hasn't tried to kill me at least once. Still love them though. Yeah, actually, I don't remember ever being on a horse, but there's a picture of me when I'm a kid and I'm on like a pony or something at a ranch, and I look dead ass miserable. And I was just like, oh, I don't think I enjoyed being on that pony or horse or whatever it was. Found the artist for this game. Wasn't who I thought it was, but they do manga on webtoons. They seem to primarily do yaoi. Oh, they do yaoi primarily. Oh. Horses are, okay, there we are. Lottie now seemed more confused than distraught. I bet she has an image of like a giant cat in her head that kind of looks like a horse cat now. Perhaps today you should just go and meet the horses? Then you can come back and play with Tybalt. What if Lavania won't let me? Then we shall wait until she is not looking, and while we wait, I will tell you about the horse who rescued a lost prince. She held out her hand, and after a moment, Lottie took it. A new weekday activity is now available. Sara can use her free time to help the younger students with the schoolwork by choosing tutoring. Oh, that's cute. Did we get a new stat? Don't think so. I've ridden several times, but each horse has made at least one attempt to throw and trample me. Fortunately, I'm quick on my feet. I mean, you're braver than me, but I guess that's kind of like riding a Vespa in a way, because like a lot of people are really scared of riding like a two-wheeled vehicle going like 50, 60 miles per hour. And I get that. And like I've been in like multiple accidents on my Vespa, and usually like after people get into their first accident, they're too afraid to go back on like a motorcycle or a Vespa. But like my accidents never deterred me from wanting to ride. So I guess I feel that in a way, like in my mind, if like a horse tried to kill me, I'd probably be like, I'm good with horses. I'll just never go near one again. But if you like really enjoy it and like that's not your reaction, then like you get right back on that horse, as they say. It's like, you can try to kill me all you want, horsey, but I will ride you. Because, yeah, I just can't imagine life without riding my Vespa. I really do enjoy it so. When I was in the hospital after like one of my accidents, Mama Line was like, "So you're never gonna ride again, right?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" Granted, my scooter at the time was totaled, so I was like, "Well, I'll have to get a new one first." But nope, definitely gonna ride back on, get back on. Especially when you like ride in very scenic areas, it's just so pretty. Like to have like a car, like sitting in a car, like blocks you from really like being in the scenery while you go through, if that makes sense. And I guess that's what like it would be like riding on a horse in a very like scenic area too, I bet. That's where I've seen the art. They worked on the Sakura games. Oh, I think I've heard of the Sakura games. Sakura games. So I'm just gonna stay in candy form for a little longer. I love her too much. When Sara came down the stairs, she found Jessie holding a most curious item. It resembled a long wooden spoon, though somewhat thicker in the shaft and with a solid round end inside of the bowl. Oh, they got some music going on. What are you doing with that? Jessie turned the object over in her hands. "Oh, Sara, isn't it interesting? It's from India." "I know. I heard there are societies for gentlemen and ladies, separate of course, where they all have wooden clubs like these and swing them to straighten their arms. Or even throw them at each other. Isn't that quaint?" "Are you sure they throw them at each other? In India, the jugglers throw them up in the air and catch them again." "Oh, I don't know." She looked at the solid wooden shape she held, then up at Miss Minchin's painted ceiling. "Perhaps I ought not to try that." "Where did you get it from?" "Lavanya gave it to me." For a moment, she cradled the club in her arms as if it were a doll. She wouldn't tell me anything about it, though. She told me to take it if I was so interested, and she would say nothing more. So wait, you just imagined that people threw it at each other because you didn't know what it was for? Oh, you own the Couple of franchise? Not really appropriate for streaming on this site, though. Yeah, as soon as I said, like, oh, I think I've heard of that series, I thought in my mind, I think it's a uncensored series, if I'm remembering correctly. This Egyptian-style music sure is off-putting. Egyptian? I thought it was, like, more Indian. It's quite raunchy, yes. I think I might have downloaded one Yuri one. I don't know if it's Sakura though. But I remember downloading one and I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to open this at any point. Yes, well, I mean, they are censored, but the uncensored patch is free. Oh my. Yeah, this is a real Middle Eastern West Asian character enters moment. Yeah, I was like, she must be holding something Indian or something. Most of them are Yuri. Gotcha. Oh wait, I think I do have one yaoi game. But yeah, even I'm a little too... Even if it's off stream, I'm just like... I don't think I'm mentally prepared to open this yet. So it's just sitting in my library. Jessie let the length dangle down from her hand and swing it gently back and forth. It doesn't seem like such hard work. Her eyes glinted for a moment with strange emotion. Imagine the blow if you struck a man with this. Oh, her intrusive thoughts are winning! What? Why? Oh, it was a foolish thought. Nothing more. I was thinking of chariots and queens. We are not soldiers and have no need to defend ourselves. There are brave men for that job. Like my papa. Yes, you are lucky to have such a father. Sara smiled, pleased to accept any compliments for her beloved papa, and thought no more of it. Oh dear. You stop that, Chuck. Yandere alert. Yeah, exactly. Okay, but also, I haven't put in to any of their, whatchamacallit, events. Just Lottie's and Marriett's and Ermagerd's. but I'm kind of curious about Jessie's. Let's do one Jessie event. Hello, Sarah. May I come in to visit? Sarah rose to her feet at once. You are very welcome. Please, come inside. Ah, she did a little dip. I love it. Jessie stepped into the room and then held out her skirt to drop a delicate curtsy in greeting. I know we have been introduced, but I wish to make your acquaintance more personally. And without Lavi listening in. Lavina, I thought that you and her were best of friends. Of course we are. I adore her. She's so classic. So elegant and focused. I admire her so much. However, sometimes it's nicer to do things for oneself. Are those real silk stockings you're wearing? Dropping a delicate deuce on the floor in greeting. No! Do the curtsy. Sarah blinked, caught unaware by the change of topic. Yes, I have several pairs. My papa took me to many shops while he was in London. They're darling. Mine are only, lisle cotton? May I see the pattern? Sarah sat down in her comfortable armchair, lifting the hem of her skirt slightly so that the floral embroidery over her ankle was visible. What little feet you have! I've never seen such cute little feet. Are they small? She raised her leg a bit, pointing her toes and moving her foot this way and that. They seem the same size as they've always been, even though I know they must have been smaller when I was younger. I'm sure that Lottie's feet are smaller than mine, and Emily's, of course, are the smallest of all. Emily? Emily is the doll that my papa brought to be my companion. Sarah stood up and lifted Emily into her arms for Jessie to admire. Emily, this is Jessie Abbott, my new friend. The older girl dropped a beautiful curtsy and then laughed. Oh, she has silk stockings too. Stockings with such teeny tiny feet. How cute. But you do have small feet for your height, Sarah. I'm sure you do. Look at mine. Jessie pressed her foot up alongside Sarah's for comparison. I just don't know whether larger or smaller feet are better. For dancing, I mean. If you dance with a partner, small feet would be better to avoid being stepped on. And they look very stylish in slippers. Slippers are cuter if they are smaller. But larger feet might be better for holding positions and standing on your toes. Small feet may not be as strong. Your feet have a good shape though. They arc well. They're very pretty. Oh, she knows a lot about feet. Can feet be pretty? Oh dear. Looks around. Do you want to kill everyone you see? This girl gives me the creep vibes. There's always gotta be one though. There's gotta be the one that you're very concerned that will one day try to take over the world. Then you have the little, clueless, dense one. Getting into dangerous territory with all this feet business. She's got a footy fetish. Well, it seems like she likes ballet, and I feel like ballet is all about feet. I tried to do ballet once, but I was like, once I saw like the damage it could do to your feet, I was like, no thank you, and never did ballet ever again. Colonel Grange's little daughter Isabel in India was the prettiest girl I ever knew. All the gentlemen said she was the beauty of the regiment. She had dimples and round rose-curly cheeks, pale blue eyes, and long curly hair and color of gold, and everyone said that those things were very pretty. No one ever spoke of her feet. I suppose if feet can be pretty, then perhaps I do have pretty feet. I know the rest of me is not. Oh dear. My hair is too black and straight and short. I am too thin. My eyes are a strange color. I mean, your eyes are pretty much the same as her eyes. You do not have the same kind of beauty that dolls are made of, but that doesn't mean that you aren't pretty. I think you're quite interesting to look at. Well, that's not the same as being pretty now, is it? Sarah did not wish to contradict her new friend, who had no reason to lie, but her inner conviction that she was an ugly little girl could not be so easily dispelled. Will you show me the rest of your dolls and clothes? Do all your petticoats have so many lace frills? Do you think any of them would fit me? I don't know. I suppose we can find out. When anime characters say they're ugly but they look as hot as everyone else, rage. Yeah, it's also kind of weird because I'm like, Like, her dad seems to dote on her, so I'm kind of confused as to how she has low self-esteem. Like, I know she could have easily been the character that's, like, super spoiled and whatnot, but I don't see how she went from the extreme opposite of that, though. Like, I'm pretty sure her dad never told her she was ugly, so I'm not sure why she thinks she's so ugly. Okay, so main character has self-esteem issues, but at least for girl is kind. Yeah, it seems like she's the best friend of the bully, but as usual, she's not a bully herself. She's just friends with the wrong type of person. Oh, foot girl, gotcha. Maybe she wants pity. I don't even think she has that kind of thought in her brain like, oh, I want to be pitied. I think she just thinks she's ugly for being different, and I guess can't take compliments, I guess. Once again, Miss Minchin prepared to lead her students back from the church to the safe confines of the seminary. Oh, I might have said cemetery before. Is that what you meant, Lux? Because seminary rings off cemetery in my brain. Can relate to the second one. Yeah, because you punished me when I gave you a compliment. You put me in the box. Yes, that's what I meant. Okay. Because I do have to fight the urge to say cemetery. However, it so happened that on this Sunday, she caught sight of someone with whom she had business to conduct. Keep together now, girls. Form a line and wait here. Lavania, dear, I am counting on you to maintain order. I will only be a few minutes. Yes, Miss Munchin? As Miss Munchin walked away, Lavinia raised her chin with pride. She did not notice the conversations going on around her. Look, Sarah, Mama, why is that tower so high? Oh, and we're scrolling. This is where they keep the church bells. They lift them up high so that they can be heard from far away. There is a man who lives up there, the tower keeper. It is his job to watch over the bells and keep them clean and ready to ring. He lives there. He never comes down. Sarah did not know how the tower keeper spent his days, but she had heard of wise men in India who kept vigils and of Christian stylites who lived atop pillars. No, never! The priest brings them food and water so that they never have to look down. He tends the bells and he thinks about God. Because he's so high up in the sky sometimes, if he's very lucky, the clouds part and he can almost catch a glimpse of the land beyond. The shining city and the fields of lilies? At this point, Lavinia noticed the two of them standing with their necks craned back. Sara Crewe, whatever are you doing? You are gawking like foreigners. Sarah and Lottie lowered their heads, though not, in Lottie's case, without protest. We are looking up at heaven, where our mamas are. They live in a city with golden streets and fields of lilies that everyone gathers, and they watch over us and whisper to us, and they visit the man in the bell tower. Sarah told me. You wicked thing, making up fairy stories about heaven. There are much more splendid stories in Revelation. How do you know mine are fairy stories? You're lying. You didn't get that story from the Bible. Read it for yourself. Streets of gold and gates of pearl, and many more things besides. Perhaps the lilies are my own invention, and perhaps they aren't. Okay, they either are or they aren't. But I can tell you, you will never find out whether they are or not if you're not kinder to people than you are now. Oh, snap! Deadass said, well, bitch, you're never gonna find out because you're gonna end up in hell because you're a bitch. Lavinia is obviously the teacher's pet bully suck-up. Maybe she gets a redemption arc. I do love a good redemption arc, actually. Or we get a revenge arc on her. I don't know. I feel like Sarah's too nice/dense to do a revenge arc. It'd probably have to be another character. Gawking like a foreigner. Is that supposed to be an insult? Of course it is. Oh, just so that she's not good at exactly. What? But Sara, perhaps feeling a bit ashamed for her burst of unheavenly temper, turned her head and refused to respond. Oh my. But actually, you know what? That's the first time she's been so directly sassy. So maybe she does get more sassier as time goes on. I'm here for it. Alright, y'all. Let me... Cha-cha! She's like, she's accidentally sassy. I feel that too. Like, before I grew into my sassiness, I was very accidental sassy myself. I like it when the wallflower grows is fine, right? It's such a good moment in movies. But we will stop here for today so that I may go meet up with my friend. We haven't talked in months. I'm very excited. I also wonder, wait, I'm pretty sure this auto saves, but maybe I'll figure out how to do a manual save. But let's switch to chatting real quick. Hello, hello, hello. So yes, I have been inspired by Inari, so we will do part 2 live next Thursday. Yes, socializing. Actually, it's really funny because she's actually going to London tomorrow for work. So it's like she's deadass gonna be in London. Speaking of London. Thanks for the stream, Lion. It was nice meeting you. Have a wonderful evening, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you so much, Inari. Thank you for chatting with me. Oh, this was so fun. But yes, we shall do part 2 next Thursday. Same time. Well, I guess not same time because I did it early tonight. But 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll make sure to blast it on the socials. And if you don't follow me yet on the socials, I just dropped them like they were hot. What? Oh yes, and you can also add your pronouns to your username if you would like to as well. But yes, thank you everyone who dropped by and who chatted. I definitely want to see where this goes. And again, definitely going to change my thumbnail because I don't know what's happening in this story. Oh, good times though. Good times though. And next live stream will be on Saturday. We'll be doing just chatting and a chips tier stream because I'm not super big on chips, but I wanted to try out a few of y'all's favorites. So we will be ranking chips on Saturday and just chatting. Well, maybe changes don't stick yet. Yeah, I think it takes a second for them to kick in. Them looks like Foot Girl and MC are in a little moment. Oh, snap! Okay. Now I must go down this route. I hope it's not too late because I already put so much into the other girls. But, I mean, I don't want her to end up with Lottie, though. I can't see her as anything but a child. But we'll see if we can get that ending on next Thursday. We'll see if we can get Foot Girl and MC to be together. But yes. Alright, y'all. Have a great rest of your... What day is it? Thursday! We shall see what will become of these girls next week. And then we shall try all the chips on Saturday. What? Bye, Lion. Bye, Lux. Bye, Inari. Thank you again for the raid, Mai. And goodbye, Chuck and Kiara and Val and everyone else who lurked and stopped by. Thank you so much. Oh, my YouTube. Yes. Because all my other visual novel playthroughs are on YouTube as well. Oh, wait. I think I have a command just for that one. I think it's story time, right? Yeah, story time leads you directly to my visual novel playlist if you really like visual novels. I have a few on there. Oh, me and Lux were on it at the same time. 4-way now. So excited. Yeah, I'm about to get my own custom URL. Whoop whoop. Because what I have now is basically word vomit. Bleh. But thank you so much. Every follow is hella appreciated. Whoop whoop. Alright. Boop-a-da-ba-da. Bye. I'm gonna run some credits as usual. Stick around for the thank yous. Blah, blah, blah. Hopefully they work this time. Oh lord, did I jinx it? Oh, and also thank you, Kalio, for the follow. I feel like I might have missed that alert, so I just want to say it real quick. Thank you, bye!